American dream. People die for my liberty, I care to be free. But I'm a slave to that dollar, but heir to the king. That makes sense, to slave and pay the state cents. I make waves, they take and make that, and we feeling the pain. The stage is being set for that one world order, it's that main event. They putting poison in the water, leading all the sheep to the slaughter. Sitting pretty while we feeding for $1. But I will never sell out, even if they offer. They rewrite history and demons are the author. They sell you a savior, then demonize faith. They mock the Messiah, then legalize gays. They do what they want and penalize the prey. Nothing that they do is a mistake, it's a play. Nothing's ever by mistake. Never seen me go all way. Pulling those strings, this is all by design. All that we could do is pray, keeping that faith always. Pulling those strings, this is all by design. Every promise they break, every dream they deny. They tell you it's the truth while they selling you a lie. While the chemicals are falling from that plane in the sky, then you drink it from your sink and it's killing you inside. They print more money, they clout seek cause they want it dim, not sunny. They abort cause they selling baby limbs, not funny. Their sin is so scummy, they did it, they admit it, they are in it for the money. Every riot, every war, they want you quiet to the core. But I will not be silent, I'm a lion, I will roar. They kill you with the food, then deny it, you ignore, then keep lying, and you buy it every time you at the store, that ain't freedom. All these men in suits and they tell us we need them, but when it's time to work for the people, I don't see them. I will not be idle, I will not be blind. It says it in the Bible, this is all by design. Nothing's ever by mistake. Never seen me go all way. Pulling those strings, this is all by design. All that we could do is pray, keeping that faith always. Pulling those strings, this is all by design.
I'm in the world but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. It used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, putting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't this seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to Target! Let's go to Target! Get some PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
I'm in the world but not of it. I praise God every day and I love it. I say what I want and I say what they want. I stand for the truth and what's right and they don't. Life is simple, it's no puzzle. Common sense will tell you not to wear a muzzle. Fear no evil, trust no people. When in doubt, shout, I'm a believer. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me. I fear no man, though the world is broken. God, shine your light on me.
I offend everybody, the left, right, in the middle. Blame my parents because I've been this way since I was little. We used to be normal, now everybody praying to crystals. No wonder why it's so easy for the devil to trick you. They treat you like dogs, hitting muzzles all on your faces, forcing kids to wear them in schools. Doesn't it seem outrageous? They ban Bible scriptures on TikTok.
Let's go to
because they
Target!
hate trying
Let's go to
replace God with
Target!
government. Many such cases they
PlayStations! Let's go to Target!
All right. I noticed the mute before I talked for a while. Cool. It's Monday night. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Dreaded Conservative Show. Monday night, kicking the week off right. We're gonna be talking about this Minneapolis shooting. I know by now the news cycle's getting stale, right? 5 days, we're ready to move on to the next crazy story. So I'm a little late to this, but it is a weekly show, so, you know, it's been a crazy week. We're going to get all caught up on all that. Everything we need to know about Minneapolis. We're going to watch the videos that you guys have already seen 1,000 times, all the different angles. I've talked about this with some of the guys in the streams Friday and Saturday night. But we're going to go through it all. We're going to go through all of it. So that's the plan. Then what else do we have? We have the shooting in Portland, which I'm going to do in the main news with the Minneapolis shooting because I think they're kind of tied together, you know. Well, one's Border Patrol, one's ICE, but similar situations, immigration-related officer shootings. And the left freaking out. More riots, more protests. Not so much riots. They haven't been rioting yet as much because the lady's white. I think that's the main reason they haven't lost their minds and been rioting like crazy. But they have been. They're trying to set up another autonomous zone over in Minneapolis. Kyle Rittenhouse posted, he said, "Should I go out to Minneapolis?" Pretty funny. So we'll talk about all that stuff. And then in rapid fire, we got a shooting here in Salt Lake City. We'll go through the rapid fire headlines, and then we'll spend a little bit of time on that story. It's a local story here, but a shooting at a funeral outside a Mormon church. But at first, the way they sold the story was like it was another a crazy anti-religious person. No, I don't think that's the case. It's looking like a gang-related shooting in Salt Lake City, Utah. A funeral got shot up. Crazy. Soft on crime policies, Democrat cities, what do you expect? And then the last segment of the show, the last hour, we're going to do a deep dive on the origins of fascism because I meant to do this a while ago, but when I was at one of the No Kings protests, they handed me this paper and it said, because I kept asking, what's a fascist? What's a fascist? Everybody says, fascist, fascist. What's a fascist? What do you mean by fascist? Tell me. And they're like, if you don't know what a fascist is, here's a piece of paper. It'll inform you. And it had the 14 points, or what I don't know what they call it, but like the 14 points of fascism. And I was looking through it, and I was like, a lot of this is based. Is this really what fascism is? No, we're going to look into this Lawrence Britt, I believe his name is, his 14 points of fascism. We'll look at Gentile. What's his name? Something Gentile. And Mussolini. We did a whole thing about Mussolini a couple years ago, but, we'll touch on Mussolini again. The origins of fascism, the fascis, which means bundle of sticks. Fascist literally means bundle of sticks. So if you ever want to call somebody the TOS term that we're not supposed to say, that means bundle of sticks, you could just say, you fascist. Like, I'm not a fascist. Well, I just mean a bundle of sticks. The penile iceberg isn't the message I'm talking about. What? I don't know what you're talking about, Auntie. I got your emails. I already posted one of the shorts. Thank you. All right, so that's the plan. Let's get into it. Let me get off of studio mode. That's better. Let me get that dono bar going. Where's that dono bar? There we go. There's the dono bar, y'all. We had a good weekend this past weekend. Let's keep it rolling. Or just make sure you hit the like button. That's always good too. All right. Actually, I need to go back to studio mode because I need to see something real quick. Let me do something real fast. This one? Yeah. All right. Hold on one second. All right. I know you guys have seen this 1,000 times by now, but this is the first video we all saw. We're going to watch all the videos, but mainly the important ones, I believe, are this one and then the officer's body cam video. And we have all of that. We have information on the officer. We have information on Renee Goodnow. Sometimes it's good to give something a week to air out before you do your commentary on it. I know in the modern, internet game, you got to be the first on the story, first to talk about it till the waters run dry, and then you get on to the next story, and you want to be the first on that story. I can only do this show weekly, so a lot of times we get to stories late. A lot of times if something happens on a Monday during the day while I'm sleeping and I wake up and do the show, I won't include that story in the show because I haven't had enough time to look into it yet. So if something happens on a Monday, we might not get to it till the following Monday. But it gives me time to, gather all the information, put it all together, and have an informed opinion rather than just, jumping on and talking out my ass and then have an egg on my face when you turn out wrong. But I think this case is pretty open shut. I'll be honest, the first time I saw this video from this angle that we're about to watch, I was like, yeah, the officer's justified, but it looks really bad. Like, it looks like it was not necessary that he shot. From the angle from the back quarter panel of the car that we're about to watch, she starts to go. He's kind of clear of the car and he starts shooting. But then from other angles, you see the car is hitting him and it's pushing him and he's jumping back and he's not leaning into the car to shoot. He's getting pushed back and his upper part of his body is going forward because there's no car there. There's car down there hitting him, pushing him back, and that's why he's falling forward. You see that from the other views. You see where the first shot hit. He was directly in front of the car. In the officer's cam video, you hear him audibly get hit by the car. He goes, ugh, and then do. So once the other angles dropped, there was no question. Even before all the angles dropped, and there was the one angle, and it looked kind of bad, I still said it was justified because this shit's getting crazy. It's happening in cities all over the country. ICE is trying to do their job. People in government are telling people in their cities to ignore ICE, to disrespect ICE, disregard ICE, even cause a disturbance for ICE. There's apps now. There's groups, ICE Tracker, Track ICE, like apps on your phone. They're handing out whistles in these cities, and you just blow whistles and follow them around and blow whistles. And the government is telling people to do this. And I think Trump needs to enact the Insurrection Act. Those governments where you're telling your people to do this, lock them up. This Fry guy in Minneapolis and Minnesota, I don't know if we have any of his speeches. He's the guy that said, ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. Bro, lock that guy up. Put that guy in jail. Lock up all the people that are getting in ICE's way, all the protesters that are blocking ICE facilities' driveways. Lock them up. Throw away the key. Don't throw away the key, but it sends a message. And that's why I thought even from that one angle, from the first angle, when I first saw this, first thoughts, I don't know if that shoot was necessary. But then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's necessary. We need to send a message to these people. It's getting played out. FAFO was getting played out a couple years ago, but 2026 is now. We got Pete Hegseth saying it. 2026 is the year of fuck around and find out. And this sends that message. Stop fucking around. You're putting yourself in a dangerous position. You might get shot. And I hope they don't get a dime. And it pisses me off that the lesbian lover of this chick, I'm not going to call her a wife because that's not real, but the lesbian lover of this chick, their GoFundMe closed at 1.5 million. I have that story here in a little bit. I don't think you shouldn't get to make money off of this. She's not a martyr. Like I'm not happy she died. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite like people made fun of when Charlie Kirk died. I'm not gonna, sucks she died. She was an idiot. If she could have done better, she would have. But Satan is her daddy, and this is what it leads to. So it is sad, but the message needed to be sent, and it's been sent clearly now. So let's just watch this video. This is the first video. We've all seen this. So this officer is walking around her car. Is this oh no, this is the body cam. This might be the body cam angle, actually. I didn't want to play this one first. Whatever. This is the most recent video that came out, and this is the body cam video. So he's circling around the car, and they say he should have told her right here to get out of the car. Well, you hear he's getting the information. He's walking around scanning the license plate, the car, the people who are there with her, her face, getting this all documented. The other guys whose vehicle is coming up, they get out of the car and they walk up to the car and they say, get out of the car, get out of the car. As soon as they reach and try to open the door, her butch friend is walking around the other side, trying to open the door from the other side. And then when they try to open the door, she says, drive, baby, drive. And she floors it. Cops in front of her who was circling around, and he gets hit. He gets hit and he shoots very quickly. It's 0.79 seconds from the time her brake lights turn off and she starts to go. He's drawing his weapon as she's reversing to the time he shoots. And he gets hit and instantly shoots. Boom, 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 boom. And people are like, oh, the one shot's justified, but the other two shots aren't justified. That's retarded. Okay, I get what you're saying. You're trying to be fair. You're trying to, use your post hoc brain to say, oh, well, he shot her once, but then as she drove by, he shot 2 more times in the side of the window, and those weren't necessary. That's not the way this is working. This is not like, shoot him in the leg. You got a guy running at you with a knife. Why don't you just shoot him in the leg? That's not the way this works. You empty the clip at center mass. You just fire. You don't shoot. Let me check their pulse. He's not dead yet. Shoot again. Let me do a little. Is air coming out of his mouth? No, he's not dead yet. Shoot again. That's not the way this works. You just pop, 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 pop. He shot 3 times so quickly, I can't even count 3 when I watch it. When I listen to the audio, I can't count 3 shots. I hear 2 shots, but he shoots fast. There's no pause in the middle, But so this is not the video. I wanted to show the other video first that we all saw first, but I guess we're gonna watch this one.
I'm not mad at you.
So this is the officer's cell phone.
Okay, we don't change our plates ever.
So he's checking the plates. He's getting the driver's face on camera. He's walking around the car. There's other officers coming up behind. Now, backstory, which we're gonna look at. This is not just some woman who's out shopping, gets in an altercation with ICE. No. These women had been following around ICE all day. They had been known for doing this. They were part of a group called ICE Watch that would do this. They would just harass ICE agents. They'd follow them around and they would block traffic. There were multiple cars out there perpendicular in the road, sideways in a road, a 2-lane road, and you're sideways. What are you doing in the road sideways? And she's blocking traffic. And one of the bystanders is like, yeah, she was here to interrupt ICE's work and to block the traffic, and she was doing a good job of it. And they knew she was doing a good job. That's why they're walking up to her car aggressively saying, we're done with this shit. Get out of your car. You got to go. She disobeyed the officers, put her car in reverse, put her car into drive, floored it, seen the officer in front of her car, hit him, got shot. Stupid game, stupid prizes. They said they were trained. Yeah, they were trained. They were with a group. And that's when J.D. Vance goes up on stage and he's like, this is part of a deeper group of people who organize to harass ICE agents. And they're like, what's the name of the group? What's the name of the group? There's multiple groups. There's a ton of groups. I'd say the overarching group is Antifa. This is Antifa tactics. Now, they might not even know that they're in an Antifa group. But all these little branches, this indivisible, the 50-51s, what is it? The PSL, the Party of Socialist Liberation, who organized the protest here in Salt Lake City the other day. These are all Antifa groups. They're not going to call themselves Antifa because Antifa is a terrorist group now. So they won't just say it, but they're all Antifa. This ICE Watch crap, this is Antifa.
Every morning.
So he's at the back of the car.
It'll be the same.
And there's the lesbian lover. This obnoxious little chihuahua.
Wait when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen.
Now he's coming around the other
You
side.
want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
She's taunting and harassing the officer, insulting him. These guys, now you see her car is in traffic. And this car back here is the ICE vehicle that's being blocked. They're getting out of this ICE vehicle. And if you watch the first video, the street view, you see that as one car's driving out the road, she's trying to pull out in front of that car, and it swerves to go around her. Then the second car in the line stops because she gets out in traffic. And they're walking up to the window right now trying to open her door.
Okay.
See this guy, and there's another guy. See, he's saying, get out of the car, get out of the car. He's walking up to the door aggressively saying, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car now. She's smiling and laughing like this is all a game. She hits reverse right now. She reverses. She's looking forward. You can't tell me she can't see this officer in front of her car. Now she's turning the wheel to straighten out and flooring it. Officer is standing right here. Oh! He definitely gets hit. He says, oh, he gets doubled over and he starts shooting. Oh! Unless as the car's hitting him, he's shooting the first shot, and that's you hear the car and you hear the shot, but I only hear bam, bam. But I think that first sound is a gunshot and him getting hit by the car. There's a crunch. And he says, oh. And then she's dead. She's probably dead instantly. And floors it into the next car. That was the body cam officer. That's not what came out on the first day. The first day view was different, but now it's showing me all these. New video shared by Minnesota-based outlet Alpha News appears to show moments before Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by an ICE agent. The video appears to be shot from the agent's perspective and shows the confrontation as Good attempted to drive away before gunshots were fired. The shooting sparked protests in Minneapolis, with demonstrators calling for ICE to leave the community. I don't want to see his POV. Another person who appears to be Good's wife, Becca, is seen recording as well as saying, that's okay. We don't change our plates every morning. Just so you know, it'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. An apparent ICE agent is then heard telling Good to get out of the car, after which Good can be heard calmly telling the agent recording the video, that's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. When Good attempted to drive off, it appeared that the person recording the video had to quickly jump out of the way after which gunshots rang out. The video then shows, see, that's, I hear him getting hit, and as he's getting hit, he's shooting. And then he's jumping out, he's being pushed out of the way by the car, and just natural reaction jumping back, but also still shooting. Fox News has not been able to independently verify the authenticity of the video. The video, which has gotten millions of views and thousands of shares, is drawing both skepticism and validation among the public. This incident was so razor thin that both sides feel completely justified in what they think about the situation. It's clear to me that everyone involved made an adrenaline-fueled decision through possibly some panic. Crazy. See, I think I've been pretty fair on this. Like, even at the beginning, I was like, we're going to need more angles, and we need to know the background. Because at first, I was like, this chick is probably harassing ICE officers. She's probably just driving around with her girlfriend all day harassing ICE officers. But we didn't know that yet. Now we know that. Now we have multiple angles, and I feel pretty confident that this is a case of self-defense. If it went to the state level, Minnesota state prosecutors, it would be a problem. This cop would probably be put under the jail. Fortunately, from what I hear, the state is not going to be looking into this. This is going to be a federal thing. The officer should be okay. I'm feeling pretty confident that from all the camera angles and all the information we have so far, this is going to be a case of self-defense on the officer's behalf. But at first I was like, to be fair, it looks like he didn't have to shoot from the one angle. But I still said, whatever, the message needs to be sent. This crap can't keep happening. What the heck is Dean talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. When attempting to verify the authenticity of the video, as well as if the video was shot by an ICE officer, the DHS simply responded to Fox Local with only a link to the video it retweeted.
After the deadly shooting of a woman by an ICE agent, this was yesterday morning. The woman killed.
Contact. Federal.
Okay, this is the side-by-side.
Reference when posting to social media yesterday, showing the situation from the front of the vehicle. Again, here is a look at both angles side by side. First, in real time here, you're watching it. We will also slow it down. And we are doing this to give you both views, because in the back angle, it's unclear if that agent was hit by the car. In the front angle, it does seem to show some contact. Federal agents say the agent, quote, feared for his life and was following training. Witnesses are disputing that, saying Good was trying to leave.
And, you know, at least, you know, the media is going to have its biases and its leanings and its spin that it puts on everything, depending on which source it's coming from. But at least it seems like we're being a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Critical of the situation, rather than like George Floyd, where everybody saw the one angle for weeks, and that's all they showed is this one angle where it looks like the officer is on George Floyd's neck. But then the people who were actually like looking and actually interested in the truth knew that there were multiple different angles. We knew that there was 20 minutes of video footage before George Floyd got killed where he eats fentanyl in a parking lot, where he begs to get taken out of the car because he can't breathe, where he's saying, I can't breathe, before they're even doing anything to him. He's saying he can't breathe. They put him in the back of the car. They take him out of the back of the car. They lay him down. They call the ambulance. The ambulance is on its way. Then there's the angle where the officers are on him, and he's struggling and lifting 3 officers into the air because he was a big guy. And then you see Chauvin from that angle with his hands in his pockets, just chilling, just resting. And if you do that sit where you crouch down and you kind of lean on one knee on something in front of you, it's not really a lot of weight on what you're leaning on. Your weight is on your toes. And he has his hands in his pocket and he's just kind of chilling there. And his knee is on like the middle of the back of George Floyd. But people didn't wait, or people didn't see all those video angles jump to a conclusion. You get court of public opinion. I worry about the court of public opinion in this case, but I think if it's handled federally, not by the state, it should be clear-cut case of self-defense. And there is riots, there is protests. We'll look at that, but it's not nearly the same as it was. Everybody's talking about how it's wintertime. You know, people aren't going to be as rambunctious in the winter. People aren't as willing to go out and riot and protest in the winter. That's true, but also she's white. So, you know, there's only going to be so much outrage for a liberal white woman. You know, you're not going to be able to milk this for as much outrage as if it were a black person. What do we got? BBC is not letting me read articles anymore. Great. I guess I used up my free BBC. It only took me 3 years. And I finally hit my limit on BBC. Pause. They're not going to let me read this. But this was about Renee Nicole Good. Some of her background. Renee Nicole Good, part of Ice Watch Group, DHS sources say. Because one news agency comes out and says this is just a man on her way to work who got scared because ICE was outside of her car. She got scared and she was just trying to get out of there. She was just a woman on her way to work. No, that's not what happened. And the DHS came out and corrected that. Now, both sides were pretty radical. The one side says this poor lady was just trying to drive to work one day, got surrounded by ICE and freaked out and was trying to get away because she was scared. And then the DHS comes out and says this woman was attacking an ICE agent with her vehicle. Well, I don't think they were there to harass and annoy them. I don't think she went there with the intention to get shot. I don't think she went there with the intention to try to run a cop over. There was probably a state of excited delirium, adrenaline, you know. She screwed up. She made a stupid mistake and she lost her life because of it, but it's her fault. So that's that. But where was I going with that? Anyway, the mother of 3, and this woman has 3 kids at home. Her husband passed away. So these kids have one mom and they're being raised by another mom. And now she's dead. Now these kids, they're going to get raised by, what's her name? Beth or whatever that chick dude's name was. Poor kids. That's screwed up, man. And you know, you try to have some sympathy. You know what I say. You can't be sympathetic without being pathetic. I got to be a little pathetic and say it's sad that these kids aren't going to have a mom. But what kind of mom was she for them anyway? The type of mom who goes to protests and works with Antifa groups and has a weird lesbian boyfriend living in the house? You know, what was this mom doing to raise her kids right anyway? These kids might have a better chance in foster home or wherever. I don't know where they're going to go, but it's sad. It's sad to think about the kids and her stupid her stupid ideologies that led to her death. But I don't know. I'm finding it hard to have much more sympathy than that. I just feel bad for the kids. Minneapolis-based immigration activist serving as a member of ICE Watch. Federal sources told Fox News Good died on Wednesday after allegedly moving her car towards agents in what the Department of Homeland Security described as an act of self-defense. Homeland Security sources told Fox News that the group aims to monitor, track, interfere, and oppose ongoing federal immigration enforcement operations. The group is present in multiple sanctuary cities across the country. We have them here in Utah. They have an app. They have an ICE tracker app. And then wherever ICE is, wherever they're picking people up, people go out there and protest. And now people are going to get shot. Stop playing around. I heard her kids were removed due to neglect. I think she only had custody of one. Yeah, I didn't hear all that, but I did hear that from my understanding, she only had one kid. But now this says she had 3 kids, so maybe she only had custody of one kid. It's crazy. Yeah. And she looks a little downy. You know, they say like autistic people join these communities, these groups in higher rates, like autistic people are more likely to be like LGBTQ now because they prey on these type of people, these groups. If you go to like an Antifa protest, the wall of moms, you'll see a lot of like mentally disabled and autistic people on the front lines. They put the physically infirm, the overweight, the women, the elderly, and the mentally disabled people on the front lines. That's their battle strategy. Because it looks worse when you get a photo op of the police knocking over a downy in a wheelchair. And she looks like a normal lefty. Yeah, but she's just got a little bit of that in her face. She's got a little bit of tism face. You know what I'm saying? Which is understandable. She's probably not all there. Now she's definitely not all there. Yeah, it's a cult. Yep. Well, the group typically refers to themselves as legal observers. It's not a legal observer. And also, I see a lot of people that are like, oh, it's a First Amendment audit. You can't stand in the street and do a First Amendment. You can't park sideways in traffic and being a First Amendment auditor or a legal observer. You're a legal observer, you're going to be on the sidewalk, and you're going to be a safe distance away. You're not going to be getting up in the investigation. You're not going to be interfering with officers and yelling at officers. Get the hell out of here, loser. I can't stand those cop watchers and people. Oh, it's so lame. Get a life. Do something different. This is stupid. Trying to go viral. You're harassing an officer doing his job. Stopping criminals. Cop watching. You're not cop watching. You're interfering with investigations. She was a warrior. She died doing what it was right. A mother named Lisa, whose child attends the same school as Goods. By the way, she found this Ice Watch group through her child's school. Because these groups work with children. They teach this stuff to children early on. They go into the public schools and they teach the kids this crap. We did a whole investigative show on the Sunrise Movement like 3 years ago. We were talking about the Sunrise Movement and how during the BLM riots, they had kids doing mock protests in second grade hallways. They'd make signs in the classroom. Arts and crafts time. Let's make signs. Making their LGBT and BLM signs, little kids with BLM and LGBT rainbow signs. And then they would do a mock protest where they would walk through the hallways of the school, an elementary school, these little kids walking around doing practice protests. Sunrise Movement. And there's other groups by other names. I forget all the ones that we talked about, but I went through a bunch of them. They get these kids early. And that's how she found out about this, is through her kid's school. Poor kid probably thinks that they're, a freedom fighter too. Doesn't even understand anything about the world, but these kids are freedom fighters. They're ready to go protest. It's crazy. Humpty Dumpty should have given her better advice because no one is putting her head back together. Oh, God. Holy Lord, why am I reading that? Video circulating online shows an officer approaching Goods SUV, attempting to open the door. Second agent standing in front of the vehicle fires multiple shots at close range. What else we got? And that was Fox News, the national affiliate. This is the Tampa Bay ICE officer who fatally shot woman in Minneapolis is identified. So the officer's name is Jonathan Ross. And now we found out since then, And there's video of this. I don't think I have the video. Maybe it's in this clip.
New tonight, the ICE agent who shot and killed a Minneapolis woman yesterday was involved in another incident just months ago.
Yeah, maybe it's going to show it, but there's video of him being dragged by a car 50 yards. I think he breaks the window and he reaches his arm in to try to unlock the car, and the guy floors it. He gets dragged like 50 yards with his arm in a broken window, and then there's pictures of him in the hospital bed, and this officer got 33 stitches in his arm. His arm was torn open. So, and this is a similar situation. He's trying to do his job as an ICE agent, and somebody goes wild, floors it, screws him up. Could have killed him. So he's not playing with this anymore.
It happened in Bloomington in June when agents tried to arrest a child sex offender who is here illegally. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni joins us from...
While he was arresting an illegal immigrant child sex offender, the guy floored it and could have killed him. Now he's out here trying to get illegal immigrant child sex offenders off the street, and a white liberal woman with a child at school learning how to protest and a lesbian boyfriend is going around harassing them. This is crazy. These people are retarded.
From the newsroom at this hour, and Mike, the driver dragged that agent some 100 yards.
And he ended up with cuts on his arm, hand, and face and needed more than 30 stitches. It all started when ICE agents tried to pull the man over, and he took off.
No! No! Shame!
So that,
Nearly 7
he almost
months
shot his
before
partner,
ICE agent
to be
Jonathan
honest.
Ross shot and killed Renee Good in South.
His partner was standing right there off to the side, and he shoots 3 times. And the partner, like, jumps back. Like, he almost caught
Minneapolis.
him.
He ended up in the hospital after another incident involving a car.
So this is him in the hospital after he got dragged. 50 yards. I've heard some people say 100 yards, different numbers, but I think the verified number is 50 yards.
These photos from federal court records show Ross's injuries after prosecutors say this man, Roberto Munoz, dragged him
Tell that guy looks like a child sex offender. Just look at him. Oh my God. He's one of those dudes that came over illegally because they don't allow gay diaper snipers in Mexico. That shit don't fly over there. So he came over here for freedom, for a better life, for freedom. Because America is the land of the free and the home of the gay.
100 yards through a Bloomington neighborhood. The feds say Munoz is here illegally from Guatemala. That's why ICE agents pulled him over in June, but he refused to look.
I come from Guatemala. They don't like diaper snipers. They don't like us over there. So I come to America. They treat me very nice when I'm gay and I like little boys. Sweet young boys.
Lower his window or open his door. That's when the agent broke the driver's side rear window and reached his hand into the car to try to unlock the door. But Munoz took off, taking the agent with him. The agent used a taser on Munoz, but it didn't work. He eventually fell to the ground because of the erratic.
That's the last time he's ever using not less than lethal again. He's like, from there on out, I'm going lethal. Anytime I'm dealing with a car.
Driving. Bloomington police later arrested the driver after he called 911 and claimed that ICE agents assaulted him.
And federal prosecutors charged the driver with assaulting a federal officer. A jury convicted him last month. In the newsroom tonight, Mike Manzoni, Fox.
Good. Well, that guy's locked up. Now, meanwhile, here's what's going on in Minneapolis. This is Unicorn Riot. This is a far left news agency, Antifa News. I follow them on Facebook. Barricades have been put up by community members to create an autonomous grieving zone on the block that Renee Good was killed by federal agent Jonathan Ross yesterday. At least one protest is planned for tonight, and healing circles are happening. Healing circles, guys. Do a little witchcraft, light some candles, maybe do a seance. Maybe sacrifice a child or two. Who knows? It'll be a great time. Come celebrate, witches and warlocks. Numerous arrests occurred at the Whipple building this morning, and border czar Greg Bovino was patrolling the south side with convoys of federal agents today, causing scenes, brutalizing and arresting observers and detaining others. They're building a fort. These boys out here building a fort. That's a garbage fort. It's funny how quick they build walls and make like small nations. They're nation building. I got to give it to them. They're really good at nation building and creating borders. I thought a border was just there's no immigrants on stolen land. Are you guys stealing that land right now? You have a border wall. I thought borders were just imaginary lines drawn on the ground. No, my friend. Borders are where it separates good ideas from bad ideas. You guys have built a border inside of your border, bad ideas. Outside of your border, maybe not good ideas, because outside of your border is Minneapolis. But that's the idea of a border. It's not about, it's an imaginary line, man. It's just an imaginary line. Okay, well, your rights are imaginary too. Your freedoms are imaginary. It's all imaginary. None of it's real. But guess what? In this imaginary world that we live in, you should go to jail. I'm excited about that shirt. I'm wondering for how long it'll take for Trump to invocate Insurrection Act. It's going to be close. Yeah, a lot of people are calling for it. A lot of people are calling for it. And they did it to him over some bullshit, some January 6th bullshit. Do it, Trump. These politicians who are going on TV encouraging terrorists to be terrorists, encouraging people to attack ICE agents, encouraging people to go out and potentially get themselves killed. You know, what happened to the people that said, "Oh, Trump is the downfall of democracy"? America voted for this. We want people deported in mass numbers. That was Trump's main campaign promise. The main thing he ran on was immigration policy. And it's not just border security. It's about getting the illegal immigrants out who are here, keeping more from coming in, stopping the drugs from coming in, whether it be over land or over sea. And then that ties in with Venezuela and eventually Cuba, Colombia, all of them. We're stopping this shit that Biden did to us for 4 years, and that's what the people voted for. Now, you're trying to stop what the people want, but yet we're the threat to democracy. It's so dumb. Let's see. ICE out now. Nice fort, guys. And think about the poor people that live on this street. I was watching James Klug's stream. He was down here at this memorial. It's just like a private street. And not a private street, but, you know, it's just like a neighborhood. And these people in their front yard, they have this giant memorial to this lady. And they have people out there 24 hours a day now just yelling and chanting retarded slogans, blocking traffic. There's people who live in these houses who need to get to their homes. It's crazy. Here these are, you know, guys who wear Carhartt things, but they don't do Carhartt things. Guys that wear camo and high vis orange. Like, this guy ain't going hunting. This guy ain't doing no construction work. Look at his damn barricade he built. This is not OSHA approved, buddy. You are not a construction worker. You are not a hunter. You are not a survivalist. You're a fucking dweeb. You're a loser. Stop it. So the GoFundMe closed the other day. They started with asking for 50,000. Renee's family, or not Renee, Renee Good. Her family started the GoFundMe with the goal of getting $50,000. Within a matter of days, they raised $1.5 million and they closed the GoFundMe. So somebody got rich off this woman's death. Crazy. Here's some protests.
Unqualified. That's a secret police force that we're being told has complete immunity is not American. It is not right. It's a Gestapo.
Ice out for good. Ice out for good. Ice out for good. No more violence, no more lives.
It kind of reminds me of
Carhartt hat. Wears Carhartt gear, doesn't do Carhartt things.
the George Floyd thing and all the people that came out. And I feel like this is a moment in our history where people need to stand up for something.
When I'm hungry.
People need to stand up for something. Yeah, I'm going to stand up for you guys. Stop being retarded. GoFundMe campaign has closed after raising more than $1.5 million. Campaign collected $1,503,533 from more than 38,000 donations. The organizers posted a note thanking contributors for their generosity. We've closed this GoFundMe and will place the funds in a trust for the family, the note said. If you're looking to donate, we encourage you to support others in need. We are truly grateful. Yeah, we got rich already. We got rich off of we got some blood money. A little bit of blood money, you know? So we covered the officer. We covered her past. Now a little bit, the GoFundMe, a little bit more on the protests. And here's the other angle. This is the street angle. This is a bad view. This is the one I wanted to show first because this, in order of the timeline, this is what we saw first. This and the back quarter panel angle. See, that car has to swerve out of her car because it's these two cars. No, this is an ICE car. This is her car, and there's a line of ICE cars trying to get through. This car has to swerve around her because she's going into traffic. Then this car is coming. And I think it's both of these cars are actually blocking the traffic. Oh, no. This is her car. So it's not this car that's blocking traffic. This is an ICE car also. And look, it's got damage. But here she reverses. She floors it. He gets pushed aside and he's shooting. So that's a bad angle, but that's one of the early angles that we got. How the ICE shooting unfolded step by step. I don't want to watch all of this, but I do want to watch their little infographic here.
UV. It slowly drives around Good's car from the rear and stops. Agent Jonathan Ross is recording video from his cell phone as he crosses in front of Good's car, recording as he sees her up close. She looks calm, and you can see both of her hands as she talks to the officer.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
They're going to say since they could see both of her hands, she wasn't a threat. Because what? She wasn't holding an AR-15? How about when both of her hands are on the steering wheel and she's behind a giant weapon?
Good's wife, Becca, who had been the passenger in the car, approaches. Cell phone cameras on the street start recording as Ross walks around Good's car with Good's wife following.
I said go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Renee Good backs her car up as the agent walks around.
Bro, you look like a Oompa Loompa, a gay Oompa Loompa.
On the front of the vehicle. At the same time, on the other side, two more agents approach.
And this is where she freaks out, is these two guys approach aggressively. And they say, get out of the car, get out of the car. They reach out to open the door. This is what freaks her out. So I was thinking maybe she's focused on them and she's just flooring it away from them. And maybe she doesn't notice that he's in front of her car at this point. But that's that's guessing. We're never going to know that. We can't ask her.
One tries to open the door as Good backs up.
She opens the door. He reaches for the door. At this point, other chick is on the other side saying, drive, baby, drive. Reverse. Turns the wheel to straighten out. Floors it. Whether or not she sees him, he doesn't know that. He sees somebody flooring it in his direction who they've told to stop and get out of the car.
Good's vehicle starts moving. From Ross's cell phone video, you see Becca, the woman in the white beanie, trying to get into the car again.
She looks. So she's looking. She sees him. She's making eye contact with him right now.
See Renee Good turning the steering wheel to the right.
Get out of the car.
She then accelerates.
But she wasn't turning the steering wheel to the right to avoid the cop. She's turning the steering wheel to the right because she's reversing to straighten out.
Slowing this down again and matching the exact time of these two angles. This angle appears to show the vehicle moving close to the agent. But in this angle,
it hits him. He goes, "Ugh," and he leans forward and starts shooting.
He does not appear to be in the path of the vehicle when he fired.
You see it hit him, and it actually spins. See how his hips have rotated, and now he's facing away? That happened like instantly. He was looking at her. She hits him. He goes down, and he's shooting, and when the car's passed, his hips have totally rotated. She hits him and spins his hips around. And now he's limping. You see he's limping right now. He's like limping. He just got caught. And if you ever jammed your hip on a doorknob or something, now imagine a car hits you in your dang side. That don't feel good.
Seconds later, Becca Good runs to her wife, followed by the agent who fired his weapon. He briefly looks into the driver's side of the car.
And she's dead. And then he walks away. Now people are like, well, he just walks away from her. Yeah, in an officer-involved shooting, the officer who's involved isn't the one who renders help to the person who's hurt. The officer leaves. Get out of the situation because they're going to be investigating an officer-involved shooting. We don't want you messing up the investigation. If the officer who shoots and kills somebody is also the officer who's rendering help and the person dies, then the public assumption is he didn't really help her. So he just leaves. But I think they verify pretty quickly that she did.
And then walks away.
Shame! Shame!
Now, what we cannot...
And he knows at that point, even if he gets away with this totally clean, his life is fucked.
See in Ross's cell phone video is if the SUV made contact with the agent because the camera angle jerks up to the sky. But DHS still says it supports the...
You audibly hear it making contact with him. He goes, oof, and you hear crunch, and then you hear pop, pop, after he's hit.
Agency's initial position, releasing the statement saying, quote,
up,
the footage
Pharmacat?
corroborates what DHS has stated all along.
Charles Darwin. If people don't believe vehicles are weapons, ask the Germans who went to Christmas markets or the Iranians in LA yesterday. Yeah. No, people have used cars as weapons all over the world. Look at Waukesha.
That this individual was impeding law enforcement and weaponized her vehicle.
Let's get to some of the protest stuff that's been going on. We've seen all the angles, analyze the crash. Now I just want to look at a little bit of the protests that have been going on before we go to this Portland thing that's kind of related.
Question of what does it mean to actually care about this? If you see something and then just in the trend, and so long as these...
So this is a guy at a protest, and they're chanting now. What were they chanting? Something, kill an ICE. Save a life, kill an ICE. Save a life, kill an ICE. Or something. Yeah, Daryl Brooks. From what I heard, he went directly to the hospital. The officer, yeah, the officer went directly to the hospital. They said he was injured, but he'd be fine. Now, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. He would want to go to the officer, just go to the hospital just to, even if he wasn't hurt, he would want to go to the hospital just to, strengthen his case that he got hit. Just to be fair, that's not like a really compelling point that he went to the hospital to me. But I want to show these protesters what they're yelling. They're getting violent. Well, they've always been violent, but now they're talking about arming up and going after federal officers. They're saying something has to be done, and they're chanting, save a life, kill an ICE.
People in corporate press and media keep pushing these lies, we're in trouble. Here's the video, and let's talk about the escalation of serious political violence.
People need to fucking show up with guns to face you guys. It's fucking time for an armed resistance against the United States of America. Take your man.
It's time for an armed resistance against the United States of America. You're not on the right side to do that, buddy. Look at the people around you. You got this dork wearing goggles right here. You got this nerd over here with a COVID mask. Like, you're not on the right side for an armed resistance, my boy. Your wall of moms putting all your handicap and your infirm and your elderly and your women and your overweight people on the front lines so that Black Bloc can run in and throw some firecrackers. That shit ain't gonna fly. That's not gonna work. I know lefties like guns too, but you're just not ready. You're not physically prepared.
This is done. We're done. You're fucking murderers. You shot a woman in a wheelchair.
Shot a woman in a wheelchair?
We need to fucking come back with fucking weapons. Go to the gun store, get a gun.
And see, these people are stupid. If this was on the right and this guy was yelling this, everybody there would say, Fed, get him out of here. You're a Fed. Cut that shit out, Fed.
Learn how to use it and fucking face you guys man to man.
All right, calm down, Jesse Ventura. Speaking of Jesse Ventura, he showed up. Wasn't he the mayor or the governor of Minneapolis? Or he's saying he's thinking about running again to replace Mike Waltz. Jesse the Body Ventura. He's out there, you know. I'm Jesse Ventura. I can't do a good Jesse Ventura. Andrew does a great Jesse Ventura, but he's out there saying, I only had one term. I'm coming back for my second term. You guys made me do it. This guy Trump, he wouldn't call Trump, and he wouldn't call him president. He said, I don't call him Trump, and I don't call him president. I call him the evil dictator who needs to go to jail. Jesse Ventura running his cocksucker, about to go for office again.
And that's probably it. But you heard it. He said...
And then here's some more protest action. Federal agents arrest man in Minneapolis as protesters surround them. This is the Ice Watch crap. They're just trying to do their job, and these people, what's the word I'm looking for? Mobilize rapidly, surround them, and they're agitators. Lock them all up. And look at their gay ass Kwanzaa door decoration. This is a Kwanzaa sign on their door. You know these damn Mexicans aren't celebrating Kwanzaa. Shut the hell up. You don't know anything about Kwanzaa. Tell me about Ron Everett. Oh, she black. She black. Maybe they're Somalian. They might be Somalian. She black. Maybe they do celebrate fake Kwanzaa.
Garrison Gibson Brown. He has some charges. They say he has a court removal. And they didn't even show us this stupid ass thing. This is what they gave me.
Whatever. Should have thought about that before you broke the law, asshole. Now, look how fast they mobilize. But Antifa is just an idea, guys. It's just an idea.
News alert: an unlawful assembly declared in Minneapolis after thousands of anti-ICE protesters hit the
fireworks in the streets
in response
property values
to the fatal shooting
plummeting.
of Renee Good.
The situation turning violent.
That's okay. The property values can plummet, and then they can sell those buildings to China, BlackRock or Vanguard. Somebody's going to buy up those properties.
Violent, with one group attempting to breach a hotel where they believed ICE agents are staying.
Matt Finn is live on the ground in Minneapolis with the latest. Matt, good morning. What are you seeing there?
Well, Rachel, it's quiet right now, but really just a few hours ago, not far from where I'm standing, things turned violent and got pretty dicey. A large crowd of protesters and rioters surrounded a hotel where they believe immigration agents are staying here in Minneapolis. Our Garrett Tenney was on the scene last night. He said a smaller group of the protesters broke.
I mean, this is a hotel where ICE agents are staying. So these people are trying to attack federal agents. Insurrection. That's an insurrection. According to the left's definition of insurrection, they're doing an insurrection.
Into the depot in downtown Minneapolis, tossing around the furniture inside while others were spray painting anti-ICE messages on the windows. Now outside, the protesters were playing instruments, banging drums, and blowing whistles to prevent immigration agents from sleeping or getting rest. Our Fox affiliate reports...
You're also preventing everyone else who lives in this area from getting any rest, too. Pieces of shit.
Police declared an unlawful assembly sometime around the 10 o'clock hour. Now, yesterday, body camera video showing some of the final moments leading up to that ICE agent shooting of Renee Good was obtained by Fox. Let's watch that full video.
Okay, we don't need to see this full video.
Now, Vice President J.D. Vance says that body camera video shows that the officer shot Renee Good in self-defense, but the Democratic mayor of Minneapolis here, Jacob Fry, he is condemning the federal agent.
He walked away.
This fucking guy.
Step from the incident.
There's a hop and a step. He was limping.
Another person that's dead. He held on his cell phone. I think that speaks for itself.
He held on to his cell phone.
That is trying to leave.
What do you mean? His cell phone's in his hand. He's drawing his gun. He gets hit and he goes, ugh. And he kept his cell phone in his hand. So that means something? What does that mean? Mr. CSI investigator? This guy is a piece of work.
I can see an ICE agent that was not run over by a car. That didn't happen.
He was hit by a car.
So DHS sources, including a senior official, tell Fox News that about 1,000 additional agents are on their way here to Minneapolis, scheduled to surge this city. There's already roughly about 2,000 federal agents that have already been here.
All over the country, riots and protests.
It's the right thing to do.
This is, I have Salt Lake City's here.
We've got to stand up for our neighbors. We've got to stand up for our city. This is wrong. What's happening in this country is wrong, and it has to end.
Oh, my God, I hate it. Protests erupted after Immigration and Customs Enforcement Removal Officer Jonathan Ross fatally shot 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. There's the shark, and there's like random houses in this neighborhood that have like a giant shark in one guy's driveway and a giant T-Rex in another guy's driveway, and people thought it was like AI or edited into the shot. Like, why is there a T-Rex? No, it's real. James Klug went out there and he went and looked at them. They're definitely there. There's a shark in one person's yard and a T-Rex in another person's yard. These people are weird in Minnesota. He retained his kung fu grip.
I've lived in Minnesota my entire life, and what is happening now in this country is absolutely unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
Lots of autism out there. Lots of autism.
That our government comes in.
That's why they have so many Somalian autism centers, because there's so many autistic people. And now they're saying since we cut off all the federal money for daycares and all these services that they're fraudulent, because this is also happening amidst the fraud scandal. Waltz should be put in jail sometime soon. But during all that, this is going on. And now the people are at like the press conferences and they're like, okay, we understand there's fraud and that people were doing this the wrong way, but you're also stopping the money for those of us who are legitimately out here trying to help, adult daycares for old people and children's daycares and autism clinics. There's legit ones, and you guys have stopped our money too. Prove you're legit then. That's all you got to do. You want to keep getting your money, just prove you're legit.
And takes people off the streets, puts them into prisons in other countries where they've never been. All of this immigration policy
Piece of crap turns into a piece of work when you're constipated. Yeah.
is ridiculous. We're a country built on immigrants. We should be finding a way for them.
So sick of hearing that we're a country built on immigrants. Settlers were not immigrants, okay? America wasn't a thing. It was just an open, wild land with different tribes in different areas who were constantly warring, enslaving, and eating each other. And we came in and we settled. And then all the immigrants who came in and helped settle, those aren't immigrants to America because America isn't a thing yet. It's still just an idea. Those are settlers. And then once they settle, the people who come over to Ellis Island and things like that, these are legal immigrants. And they had to go through hell. A lot of them didn't get accepted at Ellis Island. They'd go through hell to get over here on that boat. And then they'd get turned around and get sent right back. We wouldn't allow them. If they were women and they were pregnant, you're getting sent back. If they were in any way infirm or sick, you're getting sent back. The only way you're getting into America through Ellis Island is if you're ready to go to work. Beep. Go to work. And if you can't work, you're going home. We don't need you. What's up, Chris? Jumping Jack. There's a lot of unacceptable in Minnesota. Everything's unacceptable in Minnesota.
To have legal citizenship, period.
Coming here means a lot because it could be any of us. Any of us could be taken black.
Oh my God, what is that?
It's a man, baby. Fact, murdered as we saw with Renee Good. So coming out here, bringing community to this movement is super important.
Told you there's a lot of autism out there.
To get ICE out of Minnesota.
Freddie being a retard as usual, I see.
This is the city that we know. This is the community that welcomes everybody with open arms. Any immigrant, any refugee that says, welcome. This is the Minnesota nice that we know.
This is the Minnesota nice that we know. Minnesota nice means basically let people do fraud, let illegal immigrants live there, don't put people in jail when they commit crimes, everybody's retarded, everybody is mentally ill, nobody knows what gender they are. Minnesota nice. Where's King? What are you allowing to happen in your state, my boy? Beware of the Madam's apple. Then,
Developing now, the mayor.
So just to bring it local real quick, I wanted to go out to this, but the big one that they're showing here that happened at Pioneer Park happened Thursday night when I had to go to work, and I didn't find out about it till the next day. I would have been out there, but I had to work. And then the one on Saturday morning, which I could have gone out to, but I didn't because I was streaming and we were having a good stream. So I didn't go out there, but it wasn't even that big. But this one is the one I would have liked to go to, but I was working when this happened.
Mayor of Portland, Oregon is calling for a halt to immigration operations after Border Patrol agents shot 2 people there today. A man and a woman turned up shot in a...
And for justice. Tonight they called for an end to...
So this is Pioneer Park in Salt Lake City. And look at this counter-protest guy who shows up. I think he's a Fed. I'll show you.
ICE activity and for justice.
We want ICE off our streets! Anger against ICE on display in Utah's capital city.
It's just instilling hate in our communities. We're just enraged.
Organizers from the Party for Socialism and Liberation help.
The PSL. The PSL is active in Salt Lake City now. See, I knew Indivisible and 5051 were here, but now we got the PSL in Salt Lake City.
put together this rally, one day after 37-year-old Renee Good was shot and killed by an ICE officer in Minneapolis.
We're here to say that we condemn the attacks and the brutal, cold murder of Renee Good.
Trump administration
and you're also kind of retarded.
Officials say the officer fired in self-defense as Good tried to run.
Okay, but I want to show you the counter-protester YouTuber who shows up and why he's not a Fed and he's making us look bad. This kid. And I'd like to find this kid's YouTube channel and be like, bro, what's your deal? What are you a Fed? What are you doing? This is not how you do this. Let me give you some pointers.
Him over, but people here don't believe that.
She was not going to hurt anybody, and they just shot her in the head.
I think it's terrible. It's tragic.
It happened to Renee, and it can happen to anybody.
Amid the hundreds gathered, Jacob Mon showed up to counter-protest and defend the ICE officer involved.
Okay, so he's streaming. He's got a MAGA hat on. He shows up to counter-protest. He's having, you know, he's kind of trolling, and he's getting in arguments with people. That's something I would do. If I was there, that's something I would do. I wouldn't be wearing a big camo jacket that makes me look like I'm some militia person.
He was getting run over, and he did what he had to do. You know, it's unfortunate that someone had to die, but the officer acted well within his rights.
Not long after this interview, Mon was involved in a fight. This video obtained by KSL shows him punch a guy who...
Now, I'm going to be fair. I didn't see the lead up to that. And it is nighttime. It gets crazier at nighttime. But you just let these people yell at you. You let them get in your face. You be the bigger man. You stand your ground. And you let them yell at you. You let them spit on you. If it's a little skinny girl and she smacks you in the head, just let it slide. Make them look like fools. But what I see here is a guy that's yelling at him after he's probably agitating. He probably deserves to get yelled at. If I was there, I would deserve to get yelled at too. But I would, you know, I'd stand my ground and I'd try to make good arguments. Even in a, you know, a high pressure situation like this, I would just try to, you know, make good arguments and speak my point, but not trying to get physical. They want to get physical. Let them get physical. You don't get physical with them. I see him throwing the first punch, but I don't know the lead up to this. But you're punching an old retarded man in the head. Like, it's not a good look. You look like a Fed.
Involved in a fight. This video obtained by KSL shows him.
And also, that was a bitch-ass punch. And he's got a soda can in his hand. You have added weight of a soda can, and you give a guy an unchecked right hook, and he's not even phased. That was a bitch-ass punch.
Punch a guy who was yelling at him. Others got involved before police officers quickly ran over.
Nah, not a good look. Not a good look.
And Salt Lake police didn't immediately have any further...
Getting spit on is a crime? Yeah, I know it is, but it's not a big deal. I'll be all right. I'm a big boy. And it's better content to just let them make themselves look like fools. When you swing back, you just screwed up. You just screwed up everything. You just set us back. That's Fed behavior. I don't know who that guy is. Who is that kid? Fed behavior. All right, and then in Minnesota, this is where they're setting up the barricades. Well, ICE is also setting up barricades. This was actually kind of... It's crazy what's going on. Let's jump to Portland real quick, just to wrap this up. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, we have federal agents shoot 2 people in Portland. Now, I believe these guys were Border Patrol, not ICE, which is different. But the news reported on this. The news and the DHS reported on this in totally different ways. So the news says a husband and a wife were tragically shot by ICE. And then the DHS says, no, that's an illegal gang member and his prostitute. And they were fleeing from Border Patrol. And they got shot. And then I hear some people saying they were killed. I hear other people saying one got hit in the arm, one got hit in the chest, but they're in the hospital. Let's see what the articles say. So from Fox 12, Portland, 2 people were shot by federal agents in Southeast Portland on Thursday afternoon. Portland Police and Department of Homeland Security confirmed their conditions are currently not currently known. Rayfield elaborated that his investigation will look into whether any federal officer acted outside the scope of their lawful authority and will include witness interviews, video evidence, and other evidence. Rayfield said evidence of criminal conduct is found. Cases may be referred to the Multnomah County District Attorney for potential prosecution. Another couple hundred people have gathered outside the ICE building in Portland's South Waterfront neighborhood several hours after 2 people identified by the Homeland Security as Venezuelan gang members were shot by federal agents in East Portland. Newly obtained audio, Portland police dispatcher reports to officers that the caller told them ICE agents shot him and his wife. The caller said he was shot in the arm and his wife was shot in the chest. Not been able to confirm this information yet, but the details of dispatch call line up with what we already know about the shooting.
WordPress.com is professional WordPress hosting built to scale with no limits, slow down.
Ward, take it away. Yeah. This is the first real dispatch audio we've gotten from this shooting earlier today, kind of giving you an idea.
I care to hear the dispatch audio, but CNN, Oregon to investigate Border Patrol shooting a man and woman who authorities say have ties to notorious gang. Oh my God, CNN is not giving me free articles anymore either? It took 3 years, ladies and gentlemen, but we ran out of BBC and CNN free articles. Everybody wants me to subscribe now. Dang it. What can I use the sources I use because they never asked me for subscriptions. And now CNN's asking me, you're out of free articles? I've been looking at CNN for like 3 years. Literally thousands of articles. And now all of a sudden I'm out of free articles. What the? OPB.org. Defense attorney disputes police narrative in Portland Border Patrol shooting. So, yeah, the first story comes out. The police, the news comes out. It was just a husband and their wife innocently shot. And then the Department of Homeland Security comes out. They're like, no, these are gang members, and that was not his wife. That's a prostitute. Change Google account? Freaking grifter. Yeah, guys, I need money so that I can get subscriptions so we can keep getting articles. Send all your money. Department of Homeland Security identified the individual shot as Venezuelan gang members. The federal defender first told OPB that the allegations are a well-worn playbook. So that they're saying that the Homeland Security is just saying that they're gang members for, so that there's less culpability, so that there's less chance that they're going to be held accountable for doing the wrong thing or something like that. 2 people shot by federal law enforcement in Portland have an association with a Venezuelan criminal gang. Portland police said in a news conference on Friday, but they did not provide any new details about the events leading up to Thursday's shooting by U.S. Border Patrol in East Portland. Police Chief Bob Day said the people shot Luis David Nino Manacado and Yorlenis Betesby Zambrano Contreras came up in connection with a shooting last summer linked to the gang Tren de Aragua. Oh, so they were involved in a shooting previously. Through the investigation of the shooting on July 11th, there became a nexus to them. Day said, whether they were involved, I do not know. As far as I'm aware, they haven't been named as, suspects. They also said that Washington County law enforcement arrested Zambroa Contreras for prostitution and that Nino Mercado was present when police served a search warrant in that case. So the lady's a prostitute. The guy's a gang member, is what they're alleging. The Washington County District Attorney's Office confirms Zambrano Contreras' involvement in a human trafficking case, which is still pending. The DA's office received a case referral from local law enforcement in the summer of 2025 involving human trafficking and firearm offenses. Stephen Meyer, a district attorney's office spokesperson, said because the case involved multiple jurisdictions and potential federal law violations, it was referred to the FBI and U.S. Attorney's Office. Records from Washington County show a DUI charge against Nino Mercado in November 2025. Late Friday, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security issued a press release with the correct spelling of Nino Mercado's name. Oregon Federal Public Defender Field Casino Duclos confirmed he visited Nino Mercado in the hospital and said his office is representing him. Ongoing investigation. As of Friday, no federal charges. We hope to focus on recovery of serious injuries. We urge everyone to focus on these facts rather than speculation about allegations that serve to distract attention from the recent pattern of unjustified shootings. So, two separate narratives here. I don't know if the people are dead. I don't know if they're okay. Haven't seen a lot of updates on this. Everybody's focused on the Minneapolis thing, which tells me it's more likely that this was a justified shooting and that these people were criminals, because if they weren't, if they really were just innocent people out here, this story would be getting a lot more attention. But they don't want to draw attention to this story because then people are going to be like, oh, wait, these were disgusting criminals who were, you know, doing something that deserved to be shot at for. If there was any chance that these people were just innocent bystanders or something, this would be getting a lot more attention. But anyway, that's all I got on that. Let's get these memes open. I'll play a little song. No, we won't play a song. Let's just get the memes going. I got a couple memes, not a lot. I don't know if I even want to show this one. Let me see. 1 second. Sorry, dead air, dead air, dead air. Just fixing something real quick. All right. Let's do some memes. This is not really a meme, but I thought it was interesting. It's about racism. When I took American history in college, it was the first time I had a black teacher teach me history. He taught us things that I never learned in high school. He also taught us that racism continued to be perpetuated by those in power and with money, not because they necessarily believe in white superiority, but because it kept the lower classes from trying to improve their situation by demanding things like better pay, by causing a divide between them over one race taking the jobs away from another race. Every time I tried to repeat this to others, they told me I was stupid and that money had nothing to do with racism. I believe if we follow the money in political practices for power, we will see it does. Of course it does. Slavery was about profit, not about race. The racism, the pushing of the narrative of racism is a tactic, a Marxist tactic about pushing the oppressor versus the oppressed narrative. It's the same thing. Racism is the same thing we see with feminism. It's the same thing with all these isms, ableism, homophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, transphobia, all of these words. These are Marxist tactics to destabilize a country and help the elite get more rich and more powerful while destroying the middle class and making everybody else poor. There's eugenics tied in with this. There's destabilization, dumbing down, demoralizing, all these strategies. They use things like racism, quote unquote, and sexism, quote unquote, to drive this wedge, to divide people, using a false narrative about racism. It's not about racism. It's much deeper than that. Racism is just a shallow idea for dumb people to cling to make an excuse, a reason to be angry, a reason to be victimized, a reason to be controlled. This guy gets it. It's not about the race. It's about sending a message. Everything burns. Next. Another success story from the Quality Leering Center. Joe! Where's Joe?
Two mentals don't make a non-mental.
Joe's been doing the education at the Leering Center.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro.
Joe graduated from the Leering Center. Next. We got a magic card. The Leering Center. I am the captain of the Leering Center now. Whenever player adds mana to their mana pool, put that many fraud counters on the Leering Center. Whenever any player investigates Sacrifice Leering Center, remove 3 fraud counters, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Use this mana only for multicolor or multicultural spells. Card works. You know, technically, it's a good card. It's a good card. It works. Next. We got another one. The double standard. Oh, Zora Mamdani throwing up the HH. She want to hop in a Rari. Look at Zora Mamdani up here. Man, what's he? He's not calling a cab. He looks like he's calling a Rari. She want to hop in a Rari, Zoran? Zora Mamdani. She want to hop in a Rari. That is Zora Mamdani. Okay. Double standard. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, whenever you cast a spell that shares a card type with a spell you've cast this turn, counter it. For each spell countered this way, pat yourself on the back and make a post on Blue Sky. If it wasn't for double standards, they would have no standards. Look at Zoran out here throwing up the dang. The dang HH. Next. Quality Leering Center is becoming Spirit Halloween. Wow.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Where LYC been? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Next. Renee Good. She pronouns she, her. Poet and writer and wife and mom. Shitty guitar strummer from Colorado experiencing Minneapolis with the rainbow in her bio. She, her. Sad. She got infected by the liberal mind virus, and now she's dead. Crazy. She was influenced by her daddy, Satan. Her brain was clouded by a false ideology, and now she's dead. If she could have done better, she would have, but she couldn't. Next. Marked safe from getting shot by ICE agents since I don't try to run over federal law enforcement officials with my car. Wow. There's a fact right there. Fact. Next. There's Trump saying, you can't park there. I'm sorry, you're going to have to park somewhere else. This is a no parking zone. Sorry. Got him. Oh. Next. ICE. So I just shot you in your car. Here's why. You aren't allowed to hit me with it. Wow. That's crazy. That's like Unsolved Mystery. Today on Unsolved Mysteries, why did Renee Good get shot in her car? Next. Here's Nick Shirley with the quality Leering sweater. Tim Waltz, R.I.P. Tim Waltz. You done, buddy. You done. You're going to jail. Lock him up. Next. Maggot deserved it. Ashley Babbitt dies. That maggot deserved it. She's protesting. She gets shot and killed. She deserves it. Trump gets shot at. It sucks the shooter missed. Pink hat. Charlie Kirk gets shot. That fascist had it coming. And then Renee Good gets shot. She was mostly peaceful. She was mostly peaceful. Ah. Retard level. Next. Here's Renee. Look, guys. No offense, but she got that downy look. I'm just saying. She wasn't all there. She was influenced. But look, her pronouns are, my pronouns are was, were. No? Nobody? No? Not funny? Too soon? Too soon? All right. And that's it for the meme. Definitely Tism. Yeah. You see it? I see it too. I see it too. No, I mean, you know, I'm not pointing that out to like insult her. I'm just pointing out an observation. Like, she was influenced by her wife and by the media, by the news, by the liberal policies in Minneapolis. She was influenced by all these things. And she looks like an easily impressionable young lady who, had, wasn't all there. And they take advantage of these people. Cults do the same thing. They take advantage of mentally infirm people. So I'm not insulting her by saying she looks a little downy. I'm not trying to insult her. I'm trying to point out that these groups take advantage of the weakest people, and they exploit them. And she died for that cause. And I don't even think she fully comprehended what she was doing. It was just fun, and her stupid wife got her gassed up. Her wife was crying afterwards saying, it's my fault she was here. It's my fault she was here. And I believe that. I believe she was influenced. And she didn't have a choice but to die on that day. That's the only way that plays out. There's no other way. And there's a whole lead up to it. There's all sorts of countless variables that led up to that moment. And it's sad. But anyway, that's it for the memes. I told you I didn't have a lot. We're going to be, cutting back. Some weeks we might not have memes. Some weeks we might just have a couple. Stubborn One's not sending me memes anymore, but it's okay. We did the meme thing for years. We're going to cut back on the memes a little bit. Let me get this up. Oh, wrong thing. All right. We got some funny reels, and then we got some rapid fire news. Let's get it. We got a bunch of wolves attacking. What do we do when the wolves are attacking? What would you do in this situation?
I mean, I'm not really seeing a reason to panic here. Grab the first one, thrust it into the air, RKO the second one, wrap your legs around the third, pull it in, suffocate it with your chest. When the fourth one jumps at you, catch it, suplex it, roll back, Superman punch the fifth one. When the sixth one comes at you, use it as some kind of bat to dispatch the other wolves. And just remember, guys, wolves are more scared of us than we are of them.
Okay, that's how you defeat a flock of wolves. A flock of wolves, a herd of wolves, a pride of wolves, a coven of wolves. What is a wolf group? A pack of wolves. That's what it is, a pack. Okay, this is pretty funny. Oh, we need to do a stream where we do this go, up. What is this game? We need to do this on a stream one day. It looks pretty funny. Me and my mom and my brothers did it in Florida. She's like, you got to try this game. And they pulled it up on YouTube. And like, we're all doing it. It was pretty funny, but you'll see what I'm talking about right here.
Walk. You cannot walk. You cannot walk. What the fuck is funny about... Bitch, I can't even fucking walk. Nothing's funny about this. What the fuck?
Oh, man, the only thing worse than not being able to walk is being gay and not being able to walk. Damn. One more time.
Walk. You cannot walk. You cannot walk. What the fuck is funny about... Bitch, I can't even fucking walk.
Yeah, we know. That's why she did that. That was pretty awesome. All right, that's all the funny reels I have. Now let's do some rapid fire news. All right, close your eyes, gentlemen. Close your eyes. Piper Raquel, we got another one. We got another 18-year-old child YouTuber or 18-year-old child content creator. Turns 18. First day she turns 18, OnlyFans opens, and in one day she made $2.9 million. Piper Raquel, 18, claims she made $2.9 million in a single day launching her OnlyFans. Internet star who rose to fame as a child on YouTube opened her account on January 1st. That means guys were probably signed up for the day one release. From how young was she when they started signing up for her OnlyFans? Any guy who signs up for like a 16-year-old girl's OnlyFans waiting for the day that she turns 18 to release her content, put him in jail. How about that? And, well, if they're promoting it before they turn 18, put them in jail too. 18-year-old internet star who rose to fame as a child on YouTube has opened an OnlyFans account after teasing her followers throughout December that she would be opening an account on a subscription-based platform widely known for his adult content. Raquel shared a link to her account across her social media platforms at 12 a.m. on January 1st. Shortly after 11 p.m. on January 1st, Raquel included what appeared to be a screenshot of her earnings from a single day, which totaled over $2.9 million. My first day, forever grateful. Now, what's interesting is in 2022, the Piper Squad came under scrutiny when 11 of the teen influencers filed a lawsuit against Raquel's mother, alleging that they were not compensated for their time collaborating with her daughter. So, inappropriate, offensive, and abusive treatment, including wildly offensive and sexually explicit comments. Publicly denied these. Now, this is in 2022 when she is 15 years old, 15, 16 years old. And then the other thing, she went to the Bop House in February. So as a minor, she went and visited what's called the Bop House. Another interesting story is that not the H-1B visas, but the O-1, I think it's O-1S visas that they give to entertainers. They're giving a bunch of these visas out to Bop House girls, which are foreign OnlyFans girls. And they have like a content house where they all do OnlyFans content. And it's called the Bop House. This girl, Piper Raquel, don't look at that, guys. In 2025, she made headlines when she visited the Bop House, a content creation collective whose members are primarily known for making OnlyFans account. I was there. I witnessed every day, she told the outlet. I think that they believe what they are saying, but I was there and I saw everything. So she's underage. She's 17 years old, and she's going to visit a porn house, and decides that's what I want to do when I turn 18. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. On December 16th, she confirmed she officially joined the Bop House in a post on TikTok. So she joined the Bop House. Great. Anyway, that's gross. What else we got in rapid fire? From the New York Post. Yeah, this is crazy. Trans gym goer caught masturbating in the women's bathroom at California Planet Fitness. Disturbing viral video shows the moment a transgender gym goer appears to be masturbating inside of a stall inside the women's bathroom at Planet Fitness in California. I've told you guys about this. Homeless people, homeless transgenders will go hang out in the women's locker room at Planet Fitness all day. They'll charge their phone. They'll take naps. Guys do it in the guys' locker room too. There'll be like a homeless guy just like sleeping on the bench, charging his phone, charging all his stuff, and he just hangs out in the locker room for hours. Because it's $10 for a membership, you get access to showers, you get a warm place to go sit in the locker room. So a lot of homeless people do this. But homeless transgender people will hang out in the women's. There's one that's like a big man wearing a tube top and spandex. Just hangs, I don't never see this person working out, but I always see him coming and going, and they go straight to the girls' locker room and then they don't leave. And then women are afraid to go into the girls' locker room. What is this video?
Attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence. I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, with the bills you pay?
This is Gold's Gym. This is unrelated. Anyway, disturbing viral video shows the moment a transgender gym goer appears to be masturbating in the stall.
It's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hold on. on.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And here's the, I don't have the video, but there's the picture. It looks like they're jerking it. This person's jerking it up in the bathroom at Planet Fitness. Crazy. I don't have the video. I don't think we need to see the video. It'll be fine. You'll be okay. But crazy. That's gross. What else? JD Vance's house gets vandalized. Then they catch the vandal. There you go. There's your vandal. JD Vance home vandalization suspect has a criminal record. Demanded law enforcement call him Julia. All right, Julia. Julia.
It's a man, baby.
Please call me Julia.
How about no?
How about no? I'm not going to call you Julia. The 26-year-old man who is the suspect in the vandalism of Vice President J.D. Vance's Cincinnati home on Monday demanded law enforcement call him Julia and has a prior criminal record and mental health issues. Yeah, looks like it. Downy mutt, a little bit of the tism, a little bit of that syndrome. You know, looks like type of person who might try to drive through an ice barricade and get blasted up, you know? The suspect, William DeFore, was booked in jail on Monday and is facing charges for vandalism, obstruction of official business, criminal damaging or endangering, and criminal trespass after allegedly wielding a hammer and smashing several windows at Vance's home. The vice president and his family were not at the residence at the time of the incident. No duh. These idiots always do this crap. Nobody's home. You suck. Julia Gulia. What the? All right. What else we got in rapid fire news? Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap was released from prison 3 years early. Fetty Wap gets out. What up? Shout out Fetty Wap. Superstar rapper was sentenced in 2023 to 6 years in prison for his role in a drug trafficking ring, but reemerged on Thursday when he immediately stepped into the shade room and thanked fans for their unwavering support. Is he missing an eyeball? Fetty will have to undergo strict supervision guidelines the next 5 years that he's free. I'm sure he'll violate, which includes drug testing, or he's going to get the easy probation where you just can't violate because you're special, you're rich and famous. In addition to being prohibited from opening any new bank accounts without approval from federal agents, while keeping the U.S. Probation Department in the loop with all his earnings and tax records, 34-year-old is also not allowed to consume any alcohol or other intoxicants unless granted a prescription by a licensed physician. If the court deems necessary, Fetty will be ordered to participate in an outpatient drug treatment program and will continue to submit to testing during and after the treatment program to ensure absence from drugs and alcohol. Fetty Wap. Fetty was busted with over 500 grams or more of cocaine and thousands of dollars in cash. The court's decision to let him out speaks volumes to his ability to keep his nose clean. Remy boys are back up. Thanks TMZ. Great article. Fetty Wap, he's out. Now we'll spend a little time in rapid fire before we get into the last segment about fascism. A local story that happened right as the shooting in Minneapolis and Portland were happening. We had a shooting here in Salt Lake City, and the reporting on it was interesting. The way they presented it at first, it seemed like some Mormon hater was shooting up a Mormon church. That's not what happened. Now, they're not saying this, but I'm using my intuition and my, just my history of news analysis and, knowing my city, knowing the areas, knowing how the reporting goes, just understanding these things. I think my speculation is that this was a gang shooting, a gang-related shooting. Now, I wish I had the picture of the guy whose funeral it was, and you'd see why I'm saying that. But 2 people were killed, more injured, in shooting near a funeral service at church building in Salt Lake. Officials confirmed a total of 8 victims while the suspect was still at large in the aftermath of the shooting. An unknown number of people have been detained as part of the ongoing investigation. Witnesses in the area who heard the gunshots described the experience as pretty scary. So, anyway, this is a Mormon church, but I don't think the people who were there were Mormons. I think they were just using the church as a place to hold their funeral. And there's a picture of the family, and they're all like black Pacific Islander type people, maybe Tongan. But the guy whose funeral it was is an old black guy with dreads, and he's got a big blue bandana on in his picture. They took that picture down real quick because everybody was jumping to the same conclusions. They're like, this seems like gang violence. Like, whenever you hear about a funeral at night, getting a drive-by done on it, probably gang related. But they're not reporting on that. Salt Lake law enforcement confident because they say it was a targeted shooting, but it wasn't related to the church or Mormonism or anything like that. Brian Redd said law enforcement was confident they will bring those responsible. Mayor Aaron Endenhall, the commie gender studies mayor, said the incident should never have happened and vowed those responsible would be held accountable. Our officers will not rest until we bring them justice. Investigation are following up on leads. It's too early to determine whether the incident was gang-related. The area being examined by law enforcement is located behind the church. We don't believe this was a targeted attack against a religion. We're going to keep looking until we find them. But somebody else said this was targeted, but it wasn't targeted towards Mormons. It wasn't like this was somebody shooting up a Mormon church. This was somebody targeting the funeral, the people at the funeral. No matter where they go, we will find them and they will be brought to justice. Multiple dead in shooting outside a chapel. I don't even see where the shooting's coming from. Is this the car? I only heard 2 shots. Anyway, so 2 killed. So here's the family. See, they kind of look like Islanders, black Islanders. Look mixed between black and Tongan. And when they don't tell you the race of the shooter, you know, that typically means something. They're young party goers. The police won't do squat, but the community will. 2 people killed, 6 injured, shooting outside of Salt Lake City church Wednesday night. So now AP doesn't even report that it's a Mormon church because that's kind of irrelevant. I don't even think they were Mormon. I think they were just using the church as a facility. Oh, they do say that it's Mormon here. In the back parking lot of a house of worship for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Utah-based faith known widely as the Mormon Church. No suspect in custody. All victims were adults. At least 3 of the injured were in critical condition. Do not believe the shooter had animus toward a particular faith, but they also don't think the shooting was random. So it's not just a random shooting, and it's not an attack on Mormons. It's a targeted attack on this family of this guy who was having a funeral. And he, in the pictures they have of him, kind of looks like a gang member. Just saying. What is this? This is supposed to be. Oh, this is supposed to be in a different folder. Oh, no. But that's that on that shooting. This was just a update on the Venezuela situation. I do have a debate coming, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday. I have a debate about Trump's actions in Venezuela. Were they justified? And it should be a good one. I'm not totally done with my research yet, but I've done a lot of research and a lot of prep, and I still have more to do. And I got to put together. We can't see the images. What do you mean? You don't see this article right here? It's almost always a citizen that reports, almost never a cop. Who made these bags? I can't see. What do you guys see? I'm looking at my OBS studio. What are you guys looking at? No, you're seeing it. Never mind. Okay. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but so yeah, debate about Venezuela coming up with a spurgy leftist named First Amender. He can debate when he doesn't just spurg out. I'm gonna piss him off. He's gonna call me an idiot. But if we stick to the facts, maybe it'll be a good debate. I don't know. If he just starts insulting me, I'm gonna roast his ass. So I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, we're gonna be debating about Venezuela, and I've been doing a lot of research. I got a ton of page of notes, the history of Venezuela, the history of regime changes and coups. The other videos we couldn't see very well. Okay. There wasn't anything in them. Venezuela's interim leader sacks general in charge of Maduro's guard. The general in command of Venezuela's presidential armor guard, Javier Marcano Tabata, has been sacked days after Venezuela leader Nicolas Maduro was seized by U.S. forces in a raid in Caracas and taken to New York to stand trial against narco-terrorism charges. Presidential Honor Guard is the military force which provides bodyguards tasked with protecting the head of state. In order to replace General Marcano Tabata was issued by the new interim president, Delcy Rodriguez. That's the new lady that's running things. Rodriguez was sworn in by the National Assembly, which is dominated by government loyalists, on Monday. So she kicked out Maduro's old general. So that's just a little update on Venezuela. Stay tuned for the debate. It should be good. Guys, before we jump into the history of fascism, and particularly I want to look at these 14 we'll look at a little bit of the history and the uprising of fascism, its origins, what it means, definitions of the word, but I want to look at these 14 criteria of fascist, and we'll go through them one by one and see. A lot of it seems kind of base, but before I do that, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick and play a song for you guys. You get the chair for about 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Washed from the swamp, Florida heat, moved to Utah, chasing deceit. Eyes on every woman, can't look away. Simping his life, wasting the day. Dinosaurs built the pyramids, he claims. Nukes are lies, his mind's aflame. Delete the folder, Josh. Grace ain't yours to keep. Delete the folder, Josh. A twerk haunts your sleep. Delete the folder, Josh. Let obsession rock deep. Endless clips, grace in his eyes. Worshipping moves, truth in disguise. Chasing shadows, never enough. Lust consumes, his heart is rough. Dinosaurs built, they built the stone. Nukes are fake, I'm not alone. Delete the folder, Josh. Grace ain't yours to keep. Delete the folder, Josh. A twerk haunts your sleep. Delete the folder, Josh. Let obsession rot deep. Endless clips, grace in his eyes. Worshipping moves, truth in disguise. Chasing shadows, never enough. Lust consumes, his heart is rough. Dinosaurs ruled, they built the stone. Nukes are fake, I'm not alone. Delete the folder, Josh. Grace ain't yours to keep. Delete the folder, Josh. A twerk haunts your sleep. Delete the folder, Josh. Let obsession rock deep. Delete the folder, Josh. Delete the folder, Josh. Delete the folder, Josh. Let obsession rot deep. Josh.
Sorry about that. Okay. Auntie, I looked at my Discord. Yes. That picture is awesome. Yeah, I'm not going to pull it up on the screen right now, but I'll just show you guys. That's the when the grid goes down shirt. When the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. That's pretty cool with the nuke in the window in the background. I like it. We're trying to make some merch. That's the grid shirt. When the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. I like it. Another thing I just found out while I was in the restroom and I was looking at my Discord. Apparently, there's not going to be a debate with First Amender. I'm going to share this even though it was sent to me in private because fuck them. First Amender pulled out. He said he won't debate a pedo defender because I debated about the Epstein list and Trump accusations made against Trump. I said Trump is basically, I argued that Trump was innocent in all this and that he's done more to go after this ring and more to release the files and be transparent than any other president, and that there's no credibility to any of the claims towards Trump. And because I made that argument to defend the president against lies made by retards, First Amender said he won't debate me. He pulled out a week before the debate that's been set up for 2 weeks now. He pulled out of the debate. So he won't debate me. Wow. Wow. He's scared. Yeah, he's scared. So Easy says he's trying to find another opponent. So hopefully the debate still happens because I put in a lot of prep for it. But I told Easy, I was like, I want a far lefty who was like an actual, like a debater. I'd like to get like, I don't know, like a Tomfoolery or even a Dylan Burns or First Amender would have been great. He's far left. He's a crazy lefty who debates regularly, but he doesn't want to debate. Yeah, he won't debate a pedo defender is what he said. Because I did a debate about the Epstein files. Wow. What a bitch. What a bitch. And you could tell him I said that. So gay. God. Oh, man. Is Tomfoolery still a thing? Yeah, I talked to Tomfoolery at DebateCon. I went on he was streaming from Grid's event, and I sat down and talked to him for a bit. We just kind of bounced through some topics. We got to like creation, young Earth, dinosaurs, and I think we talked a little bit about the Epstein stuff because that was going on then. The disrespect, he forgot about the Marte debate. Come on, First Amender. Anyway. Oh, man, that's so gay. What a bitch, dude. Oh, my God. All right. Last segment of the show here for the last hour-ish. We're going to talk about fascism. So I found this paper that I had got from one of the protests on my table, and I had forgot about it. I wanted to talk about it, but when I was at the No Kings thing and they're all calling everybody fascist, I'm like, what's a fascist? What do you mean by fascist? And then some of them would be like, oh, what? You don't know what it means? I'm like, well, I have an idea, but I have a proprietary definition. I don't have a definition memorized from the dictionary. I have a proprietary definition. I'm assuming you also have a proprietary definition. So I'd like to know what you mean by fascist. And then one of them handed me a piece of paper, and it had 14 signs of fascism. And I had never seen this or heard of this before. So I started looking at it. I was like, this is dumb. A lot of this stuff is basically Christians would fit into a lot of these categories. And they would say, well, yeah, if you're a Christian and you're a Christian nationalist, or you're a Christian who wants to, have Christian morality in government, that's fascism. But these 14 identifiers of fascists is actually a legit thing. I guess a legit thing. It's from an article written by Lawrence W. Britt, The 14 Characteristics of Fascism. So we're going to go through these 14 characteristics of fascists. We're going to see, like, are we fascist? Am I a fascist? That's what we're going to find out today. But first, we're going to look at a little bit of the history, some of the origins. So just from like the Google AI overview, fascism emerged from the turmoil of World War I, blending 19th century reactionary ideas, ultranationalism, anti-liberalism, hierarchy, sounds based, with post-war disillusionment, especially in Italy, where Benito Mussolini formed the first fascist movement in 1919, using symbols like the Roman fasces to promote national strength, or the Roman bundle of sticks, which I believe we have those on our money, those bundles of sticks that are twined together. The idea is you're stronger as a group tied together than you are as one. A bundle of sticks is harder to break than a single stick. But also, another thing that is bundle of sticks is a word that sounds kind of like fascist. And I know Mussolini was very into fashion, fascist. So they all kind of sound the same, so I don't think I have the same mindset as Mussolini or Hitler. I think both of them were actually more left. People just think that racism is a right-wing mentality. Hitler was a racist, therefore he's on the right. But Benito Mussolini was the start of this. I'm not going to spend too much time on him. We did a whole series called Dissecting a Dictator, where each week we went through different dictators throughout history, and one of the weeks we dedicated to Mussolini. If you can go find that. It might be on Rumble. It might have been while I was banned on YouTube. I can't remember, but it's either on my YouTube. There's a Dreaded Conservative playlist. If you just type in jsurbanadventures Dissecting a Dictator, Mussolini, you should be able to find it. Fascista or fashionista? Yeah. Formed the first, using symbol, we already read that, to promote national strength, order, and unity against liberalism and socialism, culminating in his rise to power in 1922. But Hitler was a bit of a socialist, a national socialist. From the Council on Foreign Relations, education.cfr.org, Council on Foreign Relations. Over the past few years, people have thrown around the term fascism pretty loosely. It has been used to criticize any number of issues: proposed environmental regulations aimed at curbing greenhouse emissions, stay-at-home orders during a global pandemic, and even legislation limiting the size of sodas. But usage of the term extends to issues far more serious than big gulps. Authoritarian leaders in various countries have been labeled fascist by critics in recent years. The term fascism is used broadly today, but it has very specific origins rooted in a history of highly divisive and highly destructive European political movements. These movements arose in the area between World War I and World War II and fundamentally changed the political nature of the European continent. So what exactly does fascism mean? Where does this political ideology come from? And to what extent do leaders today display fascist tendencies? This resource explores those three questions. So what does fascism mean? Many experts agree that fascism is a mass political movement that emphasizes extreme nationalism, militarism, and supremacy of the nation over the individual. And see, that's where I would disagree. I don't think the nation is supreme over the individual. The individual comes first, then the home, the family, then the community, then the nation. Not the other way around. This model of government stands in contrast to liberal democracies that support individual rights, competitive elections. Now, although I would say we focus on pull yourself up by the bootstrings, focus on yourself, better yourself before you can better your community. This individual rights and liberal democracy and everybody gets to vote, I don't agree with that. So does that make me a fascist? In many ways, fascist regimes begin as revolutionary. They advocate for the overthrow of existing systems of government and the persecution of political enemies. However, such regimes are also highly conservative in their champion of traditional values. So if you champion traditional values, you're a fascist. And although fascist leaders typically claim to support the everyman, in reality, their regimes also often align with powerful business interests. So they'd say that that's capitalist. Aver's favorite word, I'm pretty sure that means a bundle of sticks too. Yeah. The word that sounds like fascist also means bundle of sticks. To be fair, Hugo Boss did make the World War II German uniform. Yeah, they were very into fashion. Let's unpack a few of these hallmark characteristics. Extreme nationalism, cult of personality, popular mobilization, although both authoritarian and fascist governments are anti-democratic, leave little room for dissent and strive to centralize power. The two types of regime are not the same. Authoritarian governments want their populations to remain passive and demobilized. On the other hand, fascist regimes seek to energize public participation in society through government-organized channels. So I would lean more authoritarian, not necessarily fascist. Both Mussolini and Hitler, for instance, drew massive crowds and rallies intended to stir up enthusiasm for the country, the party, and the leader. How did they come to power? Mussolini and Hitler rose to power swiftly, but their country's transformations from constitutional government to fascist regime did not take place overnight. Rather, the two countries experienced a similar pattern of liberal decay. First, fascist parties gained a foothold in government through initially democratic means. However, over time, their party consolidated power and ultimately secured their dictatorship. So there's 5 stages of power, or 5 stages of fascism. Let me see. These are the 5 stages of fascism. I can't believe that coward backed out of that debate. I'm so pissed. The group versus my family. Think lefty versus righty. The group versus my family. Right. So fascism would be more left-leaning because it's more group-oriented. But then they say individualism is a leftist thing. I disagree. Individualism is a right-wing thing. Focus on yourself. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then you can take care of your family. Then you can take care of your community. Then you can take care of your state. Then you can take care of your nation from the individual outward. Whereas left-wing thinking, leftist ideology is the group has to take care of every individual from the top down. The nation is made to take care of the state. The state is to take care of the community. The community, it takes a village to raise a child. Ideas like that, that's left-wing ideology. Consider it a W. So 5 stages: emerging out of disillusionment, all the Democrats, and then there's the individual. 2, establishing legitimacy as a political party. You get in political power. Gaining power via right-wing partnerships. Using power to dominate institutions. And then implementing radical reforms. So these are the stages of fascism. Let's watch this video, and then we'll look at the 14 categories of fascism. A little history of fascism right here. I'm going to speed it up. I haven't watched this yet, so I don't know if it's any good. Okay, weird music.
Hey guys, welcome to Hip Hughes History World History Edition. This time we're traveling back to Europe in the 1920s to take a look at the rise of fascism. So whether you're a kid that's in school,
I'm not going to play at fast speed because this guy already talks fast.
Or if you're a lifelong learner, maybe you're even cray-cray on the internet, we're glad that you're watching. So let's go do a little bit of the giddying up for the learning right about now.
Mussolini wasn't the origin. Everything that I've found says the opposite. Giovanni Gentile was also involved, but his ideas informed some of what Mussolini said, but Mussolini informed some of what he said too. The document, where is it? I couldn't find the original article. I had to pay to get a hold of it. But there is an article written by Giovanni Gentile, and Giovanni Gentile's hortatory article in the Italian Encyclopedia. Where is it? I forget what it was called, but I couldn't get a hold of the original article. They wanted me to pay for it. But it was an article in the Italian Encyclopedia, and it was half written by Giovanni Gentile, and it was half written by someone else. It's somewhere in here. But that's where all the ideas come from. And then later, this guy, Lawrence W. Britt, comes up with these 14 characteristics of fascism, and this has become popular today. And that's what we're going to look at here after this video.
Of Hitler, we want to make sure that you understand on a very basic level what fascism is. At its root, fascism is loyalty to the state and obedience to the ruler. And sometimes people will equate fascism with communism. And certainly there are some similarities when we look at the two. Both of them kind of equate to totalitarianism, where you have one-man rule. You have an authoritarian regime. And in both instances, you're going to lose your rights, brother. You're not going to have all those freedoms that you love so much. But there are some distinctions between a fascist and a communist. Number one, fascists believe in a class-based society. There are rich, there are poor. There might be collaboration between these classes, but they exist. They exist for the state, but they exist. And it's also nationalistic. It's very much concentrated on the state, on the country, on the nation, where a communist is really centered on the international, like the kind of spreading of communism. And there's also a classless society in theoretical communism. They try to abolish classes so everybody is equal. Maybe we could say that communism is more idealistic and fascism is more realistic. Now, in fascism, in a sense, you have a covenant, a relationship between the people and the authoritarian regime, and that this covenant, which asks for not only loyalty to the state, but to loyalty of the leader, you will be given something in return. You will be given a stronger economy. You will be given lost lands. You will be given your nationalism. There's this kind of emphasis on restoring national pride, something that once was. It might be the Reich system, right? It's the Third Reich because the First and the Second Reich were awesome. Or in Mussolini's case, he's constantly talking about ancient Rome and how awesome Italy is. So there's that in common as well. And there's generally something that is kind of blaming somebody. There's going to be an idea that we need to punish those responsible for that lost greatness, for the position that we're in now. But at the end of the day, it's authoritarianism, it is totalitarianism, it is obedience to the leader and obedience to the state. Now let's take a look at two examples in terms of the rise of fascism in Europe in the 1920s.
Mussolini.
All right, guys, why don't we start with Benito Mussolini? If you want to call him El Duce, you can call him that as well, meaning the leader. And of course, he's going to be the leader of Italy as we go throughout the 1920s, 1930s into World War II. He took over in 19...
Even Lenin said the whole point of socialism is to get to communism. Yeah. I mean, socialism is defined as by Marx, as a transitionary period between the downfall of capitalism and the uprising of communism. And that's what me and Fabian Liberty were talking about. He basically, everything is socialist because socialism is a move toward the left. Anybody who's moving even slightly to the left, away from capitalism, is a socialist, because socialism is that continual move towards communism. And he's kind of right, but it's a very broad way of looking at what socialism is. Under that idea, everybody's a socialist because we're all being pulled to the left, even unknowingly. You know, just culturally, the culture is shifting to the left always. progressive values, at least in the West, at least in America. We're trying to swing it back to the right, but it's still it's still more of a leftward move all the time. So he would say that everybody's a socialist because we're all slowly moving away from capitalism.
1922, he was appointed by King Victor Emmanuel III after something called the March on Rome, where him and about 30,000 of his black shirt peeps marched on Rome, and the king was like, whoa, we're going to give that dude power. But of course, there's background, there's context, there's something in the water that allows this for it to happen. And we really can kind of narrow that down to, let's say, 4 things. Number 1, bad economy. Whenever there's a bad economy, people are looking for a savior, and that's going to be Benito Mussolini, who's going to really be an industrialist. He's going to align himself with corporate interest, with the landowners, to control the economy.
Fascism should more appropriately be called corporatism because it is a merger of state and corporate power. A weak economy propels fascism. But see, that's a capitalist idea.
When he takes over. Number 2, you need to fear somebody. And they feared the communists in Italy. There was a fear, especially amongst the middle class and the landowners and the business owners, that if the communists took over, like they took over in Russia, yeeks, that's bad news. So we need a strong man, someone to protect us from the communists.
A lot of the coups that America has done and that the CIA has done has been over Red Scare, Lavender Scare, McCarthyism, basically this fear of communism. We can't let communism be near us. And that's led to coups all over the place. Fabian Liberty maybe fill in for first amender. I don't know. I don't know how he feels about the Venezuelan situation. I'm sure he's probably against it, but I want to debate somebody else. I want to try to get new people, but I mean, I would do it if he'll take it.
You also have a series of bad democracies. You have to remember that most of these European countries don't have a lot of experimentation with democracy. So democracies are going to be fledgling. There's going to be a lot of changing governments. There's going to be a weak infrastructure in the government that's going to allow someone like Benito Mussolini to step into power. Not to mention these weak democracies can't solve many of these major problems like the economy, like the fear of communism, that Benito Mussolini is going to be able to do. And there's also, number 4, going to be some kind of slight, some kind of loss of national pride. And that occurred in 1919 at the Paris Peace Treaty, where Italy was supposed to get gravy, and they got a rock. That's all they got. In fact, they lost some land in the Treaty of Paris when it was given to Yugoslavia. Who gives anything to Yugoslavia? I'm sorry if you have roots in Yugoslavia. And you have to remember that Italy picked the right side. They picked the right side in World War I. 1915, they signed the Treaty of London, where they sided with England and France in World War I. They're normally aligned with the Central Powers, with Germany, Hungary, and Austria. So they picked the winner. But they didn't get the gravy. They got the rock, remember? So all of these attributes are going to allow someone like Benito Mussolini to rise to power. Now, Benito Mussolini originally was a socialist. He served in World War I. He was an idealistic kind of guy in the sense of he believed in classless society. But that kind of turned sour for him when he returned to Italy in 1917, believing that socialism didn't have the answers, that we needed a class-based society. And he was especially more interested in the nation of Italy and empire building than he was of this international theoretical concept of communism around the globe. So that's going to make him into a fascist rather than a communist. He actually worked for the MI5, the British intelligence service, during World War I in 1917. He was given money in order to pump out pro-war propaganda and to turn in anti-war protesters as well. In 1919, he forms the Fascist Party, made up of black shirts. These were they called his supporters. Only about 200 of them. But as the economy gets worse and the fear of communism grows, that number is going to grow into 30,000 by 1922 when he institutes the March on Rome, and then King Victor Emmanuel III hands power over to him as prime minister. As prime minister, he's going to finagle new elections where his fascist party is going to win, sometimes because they're going to kill their opponents, but nevertheless, by the time we get to 1924, 1925, El Duce is the leader of Italy in every sense of the word. So what does he do now that he has power? What does a fascist do when you give him control? Well, they abolish democracy. They get secret police. It was called the OVRA in Italy. These secret police are going to be the enforcers of the government. They're going to arrest opposition. They're going to murder political opponents. They're going to jail anybody that's suspect. They're going to censor the radios and the newspapers. In fact, they're going to control the radio and the newspapers and all forms of media to pump out pro-Benito Mussolini propaganda. They're going to outlaw unions and outlaw strikes. They're going to align themselves with industrialists in order to do these great, huge public work projects. You have to remember that fascism is rooted in national pride. So when Mussolini is talking, he's talking a lot about Julius Caesar and Plato and these great Romans and the empire of Rome and how we need to restore that. We need to make Italy great again. He's going to make make teachers take oaths. He's going to institute a educational plan called Futurism, where we're really concentrating in the schools on loyalty oaths and patriotism and kind of warfare and teaching people that sort of thing to make Italy great again. And there's also this cult of personality in fascism around the leader. Benito Mussolini was seen by the people that supported him as a godlike figure, that everything he listened to and everything that he said was golden. And he's also going to have the support of the Catholic Church, which is really important in Italy, mostly Catholic. He converts to be a Catholic. He signs a treaty with the Vatican, and now he has complete power. It's a one-man show as we head into World War II, and then we're going to talk about more groovy stuff about Benito Mussolini as we do those lectures in the future. There's another guy, kind of like Benito Mussolini, but he's still going to call himself a socialist. The guy, his name is Adolf Hitler, and let's take a look at Adolf right now. All right, guys, let's turn our attention to Germany post-World War I and the rise of fascism and, of course, Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was born in Austria in 1889. He was a high school dropout. He was an artist. He tried that game for a little while. Fortunately, that didn't work out, but he was a really good soldier. He fought in World War I. He was awarded the Iron Cross twice, and then after the war, he becomes, like many Germans, disillusioned over the Treaty of Versailles. He believes that this is beyond the pale, that not only is it a slight at their economy, at their land and their territory, but at the very heart of German nationalism and German pride. So he ends up getting involved in right-wing politics. He moves to Munich, where there is a political organization called the National Socialist German Workers' Party, or they were called the Nazis. And quite quickly, he rises through their ranks. He was an awesome leader in terms of being a speaker, his oratory power, his organizational power, his ability to get people to believe in him. And you have to remember that fascism has this cult of personality kind of thing going on. So if you were that personality, like a Benito Mussolini, like Adolf Hitler was, you can quite quickly rise through the ranks. And quite quickly, only a few years after joining the party in 1923, his new nickname is Der Führer, the leader of the Nazis. So he sees what happens with the March on Rome with Benito Mussolini and how that was successful, so he figures he's going to try the same type of deal in Munich. And this is called the Beer Hall Putsch. The Beer Hall Putsch, which occurred in 1923, is Hitler's attempt to have a coup d'etat. That's an awesome word, an overthrow of government. The coup d'etat. I can even be saying it wrong, but I don't care. And he thinks this will be successful. This will launch him into being the leader of all Germany. No, it won't. You get crushed. And really, this was an opportunity to shut down Adolf Hitler. They try him for treason. In some countries, when you're tried for treason...
Last time YouTube was taking my comments down was when Larry Elder had his daily radio show.
That's the last trial of your life, because they're going to probably chop your head off or something like that. But not Adolf Hitler. He had sympathetic judges, people that, were kind of on his side, and he was sentenced to 5 years in jail. He only served 9 months in jail. And at the end of the day, the Beer Hall Putsch is actually a positive for Adolf Hitler. This failed rebellion, the failed coup d'etat, is really going to give him what he wants. It's going to give him national attention at the trial. It's going to give him the opportunity to have a platform to announce his intentions and his blueprints and what he wants. And it's also going to give him a little time. A lot of people in prison like to read books. Adolf Hitler.
That's the opposite. So like the coup that America tried to do on Chavez, actually Hugo Chavez in Venezuela propelled him in popularity. It was a failed coup attempt, and it gained him popularity, and he was able to win an election because of a failed coup. And now Hitler also fails a coup, but it gets him attention.
Hitler likes to write books, so he writes My Life Struggle, or Mein Kampf, which is really the blueprint for the Nazis for the Third Reich, which is what his future entails. And in Mein Kampf, that blueprint for the Third Reich, he's really outlining a few big ideas. One is that there is a distinction in race, that there are some people that are better than other people, and he calls those people Aryans. So if you were blonde hair and blue-eyed, you're the perfect German Aryan, and you are the master race, and you really, in a sense, it's like social Darwinism. You were given the great leadership skills and power and the best physique, you should be ruling the universe. And then there's non-Aryans, there's gypsies and blacks and the Jews and all of the other races which are subhuman in a sense, and they're there for our benefit, or if we want, their destruction. But that's one huge idea in Mein Kampf, and of course it's going to be the Jews that take much of the blame for the woes of Germany in Mein Kampf. Even though they're less than 1% of the population, they're blamed for the Treaty of Versailles, they're blamed for the economy, they're blamed...
Social Darwinism. A lot of people don't understand how racist evolution is. If you're against racism, just the title of Darwin's book, Origin of Species, it's not called Origin of Species. It's called Origin of Species, and it's a long title, and I always forget what it's called, but The origin of species based on natural selection and the preference of supreme races or something like that. Evolution is racist, dude. Did you know that?
For the military losses, they're blamed for everything. You also have this idea of that Treaty of Versailles in Mein Kampf. A lot of it talks about how the Treaty of
Eye for an eye guy. I don't know. The Bible's an eye for an eye book. I don't know. Eye for an eye guy. I think that was Moses.
Versailles is destroying Germany and how Germany needs to get rid of the Treaty of Versailles, to get out of the Treaty of Versailles. And of course, a lot of that is going to be centered around expansionism and militarism. And you'll also have this idea of expansionism, or Lebensraum, and I mispronounced that word. It's called living space. But the idea was it was just too crowded, that Germans deserved more because they were better than everybody, so they really needed to be looking into Eastern Europe and into Russia to expand their empire. And the last thing that his time in prison...
Oh, and Trump is going hard on Greenland now. And everybody's saying, oh, my God, he's going full imperialism now. He's talking about Cuba, Colombia, Greenland, the Congo. Dude, might be a problem on the horizon.
And taught him was that he didn't want to go to prison again, that really he needed to develop political power, and that he needed to use propaganda to get the German people on his side so he could take power legally. And remember, folks, Hitler takes power legally. In 1932, really, the economy is going to implode because of the stopping of American loans. We have our own economic depression, the Great Depression. We certainly can't be giving bank loans to Germany, and that really was holding the Weimar Republic together by a thread. They're the ones that led Germany from 1919 to 1933. But by 1932, now unemployment is 30%. The factories are closing, the banks are closing, the kids are eating mud pies. There's a demand for change. And there's a fear of communism. That's where communism grows, when you have extreme recession, economic depression. So the conservatives that were in power at that point thought that their only out was to use someone like Adolf Hitler. The conservatives thought they could control Adolf Hitler. So he is given the title of Chancellor by President Paul von Hindenburg in 1933 in January. And now as Chancellor, he is the legal leader of Germany. He's going to use his power to call for new elections. Those new elections are going to be corrupt. In fact, 6 days before those elections in 1934, the Reichstag burned down. And
Treaty of Versailles wouldn't allow Germany to have a military. Hence why they built pocket battleships, hardcore tanks, and the Luftwaffe.
The Nazis blamed the communists, and they won a very, very slight majority, but enough of a slight majority to give Adolf Hitler total power. And he's going to use his new political power to pass through something called the Enabling Acts. And the Enabling Acts are going to give him complete power. The power to form the SS, his secret police. The power to put together the stormtroopers and the Gestapo. The power to censor media, to ban newspapers, to ban political opponents, to burn books, to dissolve unions, and yes, to create public work projects, which is going to satisfy most Germans. Unemployment drops from 6 million people out of work to about 1 million people out of work quite rapidly because the German...
I mean, I don't think there's a comparison between Hitler and Trump. Maybe a little more of a comparison between Mussolini and Trump. But the times and the situations, there's a lot of comparisons. And when we go through these 14 points of fascism, 14 characteristics of a fascist, I mean, most Christian nationalist type minded people, conservative minded people are going to fit into most of these categories. So I guess we're all a little fascist.
German people are being put to work. They're building cars, they're building highways, they're building new buildings. And that, in a sense, is going to be the buffer between losing your liberty, knowing that you have a job. And that's going to keep Adolf Hitler in power.
Yeah, they were just talking. He was talking about that like 5 minutes ago. You're late. We talked about the Bierhauptputsch already.
Not to mention his control over the youth. He's going to start something called the Hitler Youth and the League of German Girls, which are going to basically brainwash children to be little servants of Adolf Hitler.
Which is what the commies in America are doing already. We talked about the Sunrise Movement earlier. We talked about how that Renee Good lady found out about the ICE watch through her child's school. We have stuff like this in America, and it's not the right that's doing it. It's the left that's doing it, that's teaching kids how to be radical and protest and push for LGBT, low IQ STD movements and BLM and all these other social causes, teaching little kids how to make protest signs and go out and protest. It's not the right that's doing that in America today. It's the left.
Hitler. And of course, the anti-Semitism. Jews are the scapegoat for Adolf Hitler. He's laying all of the blame at their feet and is using his new power now to focus going on them. In 1933, the Nazis are going to push something through called the Nuremberg Laws, which are going to strip Jews of their citizenship, of their right to go to public schools. They're going to be segregated. They're going to be not allowed to go to restaurants and movie theaters, much like apartheid in South Africa. They're seen as a subclass. And you didn't get to pick whether you were a Jew or not.
And I don't see Trump sowing racial divisions. I see the left sowing racial divisions.
Your Jewish ancestry was based on your grandparents. So even if you were Reformed or you were an atheist or you joined a different religion, it didn't matter. The Jews were going to be labeled with that yellow star of dated, and they were going to be treated differently. So from 1933 to 1938, there's this erosion of Jewish rights as Hitler builds his power, as Hitler builds his approval ratings, as Hitler builds his propaganda engines. And then in 1938, there really is a shift. It's November 9th. It's called Kristnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, where his stormtroopers, his Gestapo, are going to start using force, brute force, and violence to burn down Jewish businesses, to push Jews out of their home, to start sometimes executing them in the streets as we march closer and closer to the final solution. So that brings us to about 1938, guys. We're almost ready for World War II. We're going to stop it here as you understand, hopefully, something about fascism in Europe. And remember, guys, those are only the popular fascist regimes, the one that made the most headlines. You have fascism spreading all over Europe. You have it in Hungary and in Poland, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, Romania. In fact, I think it's only Czechoslovakia, shout out to the Czechs, that are going to remain a democracy as we build up in Eastern Europe towards World War II. In fact, the only democracies are the Scandinavian countries and Britain and France, as of course we have totalitarian regimes in the Soviet Union, the former country known as Russia. So we hope that you understand something about...
All right. So I'm not going to read through these two long things. I don't have enough time, but I do want to look at these characteristics of fascism. So when you go to these protests, these lefties, instead of, if you ask them, they got tired of being asked, what is a fascist, when they're calling Trump a fascist, and you say, what's a fascist? And they don't know. So they started handing out these cards that have these 14 points of fascism, which is an idea from Lawrence W. Britt that he posted in an article, his 14 characteristics of fascism. Studied the fascist regimes of Hitler, Mussolini, Franco in Spain, Suharto in Indonesia, and Pinochet in Chile, and found there were 14 elements in common. It was published in 2003 in Free Inquiry magazine. The post is a summary of Fascism Anyone by Lawrence W. Britt. And these are his 14 characteristics. So let's go through these, and let's see where I land on the fascist scale. Somebody keep track of how many I'm either going to say based or not based. And what happens if we get like 8 out of 14? Does that mean I'm a fascist? Powerful and continuing nationalism. Fascist regimes tend to make constant use of patriotic mottos, slogans, symbols, songs, and other paraphernalia. Flags are seen everywhere, as are flag symbols on clothing and in public displays. Based? Based? I mean, that's one. Somebody keep track for me. Disdain for the recognition of human rights. Now, I wouldn't say I have disdain for the recognition of human rights. I would just say they don't exist. And when you're using human rights as an excuse to be a degenerate piece of crap, I would just point out your rights don't exist. They're just given to you by the guy with the biggest stick. You actually don't have rights. So do I disdain them? No. How can I disdain something that isn't real? But I guess they would call that disdain. Because of fear of enemies and the need for security, the people in fascist regimes are persuaded that human rights can be ignored in certain cases because of need. The people tend to look the other way or even approve of torture. I mean, sometimes. Summary executions, assassinations, and long incarcerations of prisoners. Now, I don't know about all that. If that's what disdain for human rights means, I don't think I fit into that category. I don't think Trump fits into that category. I don't think Trump would even agree with me that rights don't exist. So Trump does not fit into this one. Trump does not disdain human rights. What, like COVID? Yeah, COVID. The left during COVID seemed pretty fascist. I don't see that from the right. I don't have a disdain for human rights. I just say they don't exist. How can I disdain something that's not real? But so this one, let's throw that. That's a stupid one. That's more of a left-wing thing. That's what I see from the left right now. Identifications of enemies or scapegoats as a unifying cause. Identification as enemies / scapegoats. Let me see how the other one words it. See, these ones are different. These are 16 characteristics. This is not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Lawrence Britt's 15. Identification of enemies / scapegoats as a unifying cause. The people are rallied into a unifying patriotic frenzy over the need to eliminate a perceived common threat or foe, racial, ethnic, or religious minorities, liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists. Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I think both sides do this. The left does this, the right does this. I think we do have ideological enemies. So I would say, yeah, I fit into this. Yes, Trump fits into this. But I think this is a trivially true characteristic of anybody who's not a retard. Like, of course, you're going to have enemies. Whether you see it as left and right, black and white, good and evil, Christian, non-Christian, every group, every ideological, cultural group is going to have enemies. But it's going to be based off of counter ideas that will harm their ideas. So I think everybody's going to fit into this class. It's kind of it's a stupid point, but yeah, I identify my enemies, whether they be liberals, communists, socialists, terrorists. All of those are my enemy. So sure, I guess is that 2 out of 3? Supremacy of the military. Now, when I first hear that, I'm like, based. Yeah. We need the strongest military in the world. Our military needs to be supreme. But that's not what that means. That means the military is supreme over the citizens. And I would not agree with that. The military should work for the citizens. We hire the president. We hire our government. They deal with the military because we don't have time to do all the stuff for the military. We got to, that's the government's responsibility. The military is there to defend the people. So I would not, even when there are widespread domestic problems, the military is given a disproportionate amount of government funding, and the domestic agenda is neglected. Soldiers in military service are glamorized. Do I see Trump doing this? Maybe, yeah. Especially when we kick out the weirdos out of the military. Then we glamorize our military. This is something I do see Trump doing. Military always gets too much funding, though, from both sides. And military operations, even under Trump's presidency, are seeming to take precedent over national security. But Venezuela border, that is national security. So, I mean, supremacy of military, Trump kind of fits into this. I would not fit into this category. So we're 2 and 2. Rampant sexism. Okay, well, I'm just going to say based on that one. Give me 3 out of 5. We're at 3 out of 5 because, I mean, hold on. The government of fascist nation tend to be almost exclusively male-dominated, based. Under fascist regimes, traditional gender roles are made more rigid, based. Opposition to abortion is high, based. As is homophobia and anti-gay legislation. Based. I'm not even going to argue with that one. If that's what fascism is, then Call me a fascist. Strap me up with fascist label and call me Sally. I'm okay. So 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. 1/4, but choose your points, JS. 1/4, but choose your points. Looking ahead, 1 of 3, 1 of 2. Are you counting your stuff or my stuff? You're counting for yourself? Okay. Yeah, we can all keep track of our own numbers. I think I'm at 3 out of 5. I'm definitely on the side of number 5. Controlled mass media. Now, I've said this is something Trump does do, like kicking certain people out of the Oval Office hearings and the meetings and the press conferences, kicking certain media out, shaming and calling certain media fake news. But I think they are fake news, so I think it's justified. Like if this is, I don't think they'll say Trump when he's like pulling their funding or he's canceling things like NPR and PBS. They'll say doing that is fascist. Controlling mass media. Sometimes the media is directly controlled by the government, but in other cases, the media is indirectly controlled by the government regulation or by sympathetic media spokespeople and executives. Government censorship and secrecy, especially in war times, are very common. I mean, I see Trump doing that a little bit. And am I okay with that? Controlling the press, if they control them if they're liars. So part of the freedom of press comes with the is the responsibility to tell the truth. In the old days, if the press lied and they got found out, if a journalist lied and it got found out that they lied, they were done for. They were cooked in the industry. They're not getting into journalism anymore. They're going to get tarred and feathered. They're getting kicked out, and they're never getting hired again in any sort of media position. Nowadays, we don't do that so much. The media can straight up lie to our face and never do a retraction, and they don't get held accountable. If it's media control for me to say, if you're a bunch of liars and you're putting out fake news, you're done for. We're going to fine you to death. We're going to make sure we're going to discredit you. We're going to spread propaganda to point to you as being fake news so people stop watching you and you go out of business. If that is fascist control of media, then I get a point there. But I don't think it is. But if it is, then I would get a point on that one. Obsession with national security. I mean, fear of hostile foreign powers is used as a motivational tool by the government over the masses. Okay, but is it a justified fear? Do we have reason to be afraid of communists in our backyard? Do we have reason to be afraid of Russia and China in our backyard? Yes, we do. And if we do, then that's a justified fear, and that is an obsession with national security. So I guess I get a point on that one, but is that a bad thing? That's a bad thing to be concerned with your national security. That's fascist. What am I at now? Am I at 5 out of 7? Religion and government are intertwined. Based. I'm at 6 out of 8. Governments in fascist nations tend to use the most common religion in the nation as a tool to manipulate public opinion. Religious rhetoric and terminology is common from government leaders, even when the major tenets of the religion are diametrically opposed to the government's policies or actions. Now, I don't think that religion should just be used as a tool and then the government's doing the opposite of what the religion says. Maybe they would accuse Trump of doing that when he's like using Christian talking points. They'd say he's not acting like a Christian. That's what the left would say when they call him a fascist. But I'm a theocrat. I'd be totally okay with the government being ran by the church, by Christians. So I guess I get one there. What else? Protection of corporate power. This is a tough one. So the industrial and business aristocracy of a fascist nation often are the ones who put the government leaders into power, creating a mutually beneficial business/government relationship and power elite. This is what I was talking about with Fabian Liberty. This is crony capitalism. This is where when the government is propping up certain industries, like when the government buys stock in Intel, and then we're propping up this American business to start our chips production here so we don't have to rely on China to produce and Taiwan to produce our chips for us. We use the money from Biden's Chip Act to put money into an American company, Intel, so they can produce more chips and we can profit off of that in the long run. This is crony capitalism. And I guess this Lauren Britz guy would say that that is a form of fascism. If it is, now I'm not a fan of this. I don't like this, but I also can see the benefits of it in some cases. But overall, this tends towards monopolies and oligarchies. This is the extreme end of capitalism where basically corporate elites run the country. And the government is maybe just a puppet, just a placeholder, a face. And then they use their government powers to help these businesses. And really, it's these business owners and these corporate elites that are running the country. That's when we have technocracies and oligarchies and things like that. Is this I'm going to say no. Trump slightly leans towards this one, maybe even a little so more than I do. So I'm going to not take a point on this one. So I'm at 5 out of 9. We got to get some. I'm going to end up being a fascist if we don't get more of these no's to more of these, not based to more of these. Suppression of labor power. Oh, I am very anti-union. I'm very anti-Labor Party. This is socialist. So if you're anti-socialist, which kind of ties back to the other one, identification of enemies as scapegoats. So they're using like multiple that have the same meaning for multiple points here. Suppression of labor power, because the organizing power of labor is the only real threat to a fascist government. Labor unions are either eliminated entirely or are severely suppressed. Is Trump doing that? No. So he doesn't get a point on that one. And I don't see him. I actually see Trump, he likes unions. He wants the vote from the unions. Populist. He tries to do things that they're going to like. I'm anti-union. Do I think they should be aggressively suppressed? I mean, I just would have never allowed them to start in the first place. So I think I take a point on that one. We're at 6 out of 10. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Now, this is some Maoist. Mao was very anti-intellectual, whereas and he was a socialist. Other socialists were pro-intellectuals. Like Mao was very anti-intellectual. He was, I'm thinking of Pol Pot. Sorry. I get the two mixed up, but one of them was killing, I think it was Pol Pot, was killing everybody who wore glasses because he was anti-intellectual. He wanted to have strictly an agricultural farming society. That was his form of socialism. Whereas in the Soviet Union, we see a push towards industrialism. Whereas in Pol Pot, I'm either mixing one or the other. Mao or Pol Pot pushes towards an agricultural socialism. He was anti-intellectual. He was a socialist, but he would fit under this characteristic of fascism. Fascist nations tend to promote and tolerate open hostility to higher education and academia. It is not uncommon for professors and other academics to be censored and even arrested. Free expression in the arts is openly attacked. And government has also refused to fund the arts. Okay, listen. I've said this before. I'm an artsy guy. I like the arts. But not this gay version of the arts that we got now, where everything's interpretive and there's no objective beauty in art. I like the old sculptures and the architecture and the old painting, some Van Gogh, some like actual beauty where you see beauty in something. Now you just got people slinging paint at a wall, going to college for 4 years to learn how to underwater basket weave and throw paint on a wall, and then they tape a banana to a wall and sell it for $100,000. No. That's a problem. I have a disdain for that. So if that's the type of university, academia, intellectualism, and arts that we're talking about, I have a disdain for that. But I don't have a disdain for real intellectual pursuits. I don't have a disdain for academia if it's 5% of the population, the very upper echelon of IQ, attending colleges, the best and the brightest, who go to college to do things like STEM fields and places where we need smart people. But when every idiot's going to art school and college to learn how to do retarded paintings that aren't even paintings, that have no objective beauty, yeah, I have a disdain for that. So I'm like half and half on this one. I think based on what they mean by it, I would get a point here. But what I would say is they don't understand arts and academia and intellectualism. I'm not against those things. It's just the way that it's done now is garbage. There's no substance to it anymore. You have a disdain for intentional ignorance. So yeah, I don't actually think I would get a point on this one. I think this is more of a thing against lefties. Like, they are the ones doing this, and that's why people disdain it. If we had true academia and true arts, there wouldn't be this fabricated disdain. It's like the left wants us to have that disdain so that they can call us fascist. Huh. That's deep. So I'm not going to take a point on this one. I don't actually have disdain for intellectuals in the arts. I have disdain for fake leftist intellectualism, which is actually retardation disguised as intellectualism, and trash, which is disguised as art. That's what I have a disdain for. But I don't have a disdain for true intellectualism and true art. So I'm not going to take a point on that one. So we got, what, 6 out of 11, I think? Obsession with crime and punishment. I mean, I'm not obsessed with crime. Under fascist regime, the police are given almost limitless power to enforce laws. People are often willing to overlook police abuses and even forgo civil liberties in the name of patriotism. This is often a national police force with virtually unlimited power in fascist nations. I don't think the police should have unlimited power, but I am a big guy on law and crime. I think if you try to drive your car into an officer, you should get shot in the face. But I mean, this is just a trivially true thing. Again, we should, but I don't want the extreme where officers are going door to door just shooting people. But if you're a criminal and they know you live there, they should be able to come to your door and arrest you. I don't know if I take a point on this one. I guess I'll take a point on this one because it's just the way they word it. Like, I don't know. Rampant cronyism and corruption. So this ties back to the protection of corporate power one. So they've got basically 2 points that are the same thing. Cronyism and corruption. Fascist regimes almost always are governed by groups or friends and associates who appoint each other to government position, use governmental power and authority, protect their friends from accountability. Not uncommon in fascist regimes are national resources or even treasures to be appropriated or even outright stolen by government leaders. Again, it's kind of similar to the last one. I'm not going to take a point on that one. Does Trump kind of do that sometimes? A little bit. Does every politician on both sides do this? Yes. So also, again, a lot of these would appeal to the left, would apply to the left and the right. A lot of these would just apply to any Christian or any conservative person. A lot of these are trivial truths that everybody would agree to until it's pushed to an extreme. So these are stupid points. Fraudulent elections. Sometimes elections in fascist nations are complete sham. Other times elections are manipulated. Okay, so this is the left. This is what the left does in America. Trump is trying to stop fraudulent elections, so he does not get a point on this one. So, and I'm not pro-fraudulent elections. I'm anti-fraudulent elections. The left is pretty pro-fraudulent elections. So I don't get a point here. So I think I scored out to 7 out of 7. I'm half and half. I'm a half-shist. I'm a half-shist, guys. And then Trump maybe got 5.5 out of 14. So based on my analysis, And I'm a Trump analyzer. I've been studying Trump, and I'm trying to be fair. I think Trump got 5.5 out of 14. Charles Darwin is saying 6.5 to 10.5. Correction, 6.5 to 9. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying. Reed got 7 out of 14. I got 7 out of 14. Trump, I think, is 5 or 6 out of 14. Half a point. Andy Warhol was a curse to art. Your hate is only half of a true fascist. I feel like that probably just means you're structured. All right, guys, but it's confirmed. I'm a half-shist. So if anybody ever says, JS, you're a fascist, I'm going to say, no, I'm not. I'm a half-shist. I'm a half-shist. I only hit 7 out of 14 of the characteristics of fascism. I'm a half-shist. But guys, I got to go to work. Thank you for watching the show. Let me set up a raid real quick. If you're here and you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. There's a debate going on Easy's channel. It's 2 ladies talking about abortion. Yeah, which, where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So let's send you over there. AKA a little fascist. Yeah, I like half-shist. But God bless you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Go put some chairs in Easy's chat. They're having an abortion debate between 2 lady faces over there. So shout out there. But God bless you guys. It's Monday night, kicking the week off right. Dreaded Conservative show. If you like it, tell a friend. If you hate it, tell everybody. Share this out. The world's a crazy place. I just report on it. I'm out, guys. God bless. Peace.